Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Friday Night Football on ICRC-TV Sports. Tonight we're emanating from Pat Mancuso Field at Viking Stadium on the campus of the Princeton High School, where tonight we're bringing you the 21st annual Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown game. The Milford Eagles have made the trip over from Claremont County to take on GMC former rival, the Princeton Vikings. Hello everyone, I'm Glenn Olson, joined by my partner Patrick Geshen. Pat, I think the big storyline coming into tonight is we have two teams coming into this game that are definitely on the upswing.
Definitely on the upswing. Yeah, Milford, who made the playoffs for the first time since 1986 last season, and that's a big thing for that community. Really, they rallied around them. And then you got Princeton and head coach Mike Daniels in his second year, really generating plenty of interest in that program, getting students involved, getting the community more involved. They're definitely on the upswing this year, Glenn.
Yeah, definitely a resurgence out for the Eagles, as Patrick said, making the playoffs for the first time in 30 years last year. A three-way tie, topped the ECC along with Anderson, who we saw last night on a special edition of Friday Night Football, and the West Claremont Wolves in their first year of existence. So not a bad start for the Wolves. But back to the game at hand, a little bit of rebuilding, I think, for the Eagles. Their leader, Blake King, who was a quarterback last year, graduated. Those things tend to happen in high school, and now all of a sudden we have a new quarterback under center, or in the pistol probably, for the Eagles.
And it's Hunter Johnson, who only had a few throws last year for 73 yards, and this is a guy who only made a few appearances in varsity last season. They don't really know what to expect from him. Played a lot of JV, obviously, so this is a varsity game now, a little bit more intense. We don't really know what to expect to him, but look to him to throw to a lot of big targets. Cameron Keels will be a major threat to the Milford offense this season, as well as Connor Foster, their Northwestern commit, and tight end number 85. Those guys are really going to be a big part of this offense, and it all centers around Hunter Johnson's success early in the year. Yeah,
Thompson really with the big arm, and he's got a lot of his skill players back, as you mentioned, and we're really curious to see the storyline develop with Connor Foster. He had a decent amount of balls thrown his way last year, but he's grown a little bit, added some more muscle since last season, and we'll see if he becomes a target for Thompson, or if he becomes more of a decoy to open up some of those skill guys like Dylan Hughes and Cameron Kells that you mentioned. Let's go to the other side of the stadium here now with the Princeton Viking. Hosea Harrison, we're expecting to see him come out at quarterback. He missed about half of the season last year due to an injury.
And they're hoping he stays healthy this year. This is another guy that we only saw 5 times last year at the varsity level, so it's another case of what's he going to look like at the varsity level, how's he going to throw, how's he going to run the football, and how is he going to power this offense for Princeton. But again, Dylan Hughes is another it's Darnell Harrison, who's another high expectation guy, and also sophomore running back Thomas Boyd, who really didn't have a whole lot of varsity experience last year. In fact, none at all, I don't think. He's another guy that we have to see how he's going to behave at the varsity level, getting his first experience tonight.
Yeah, he must have some tremendous athletic skills to be getting the start at running back, or expecting to get a start at running back here as a sophomore in the GMC. Talk about defensively now, first for the Milford Eagles. Bryce Dugan was their leader in sacks last year. He had 6 of those. He's off at Ohio State, lost to graduation now. But really the story for the Milford defense last year was bend but don't break.
Bend but don't break. That's a perfect idiom. They did some work for them, but it was really the offense that carried the load for Milford last season. And with no big names coming back, we have to see how this defense is going to behave. But they want to have a little bit more with the defense this year. They wanted to help out a little bit more. And Tom Grippa for Milford obviously wants defensively his team to be a little bit more sound for kind of a better overall performance.
Yeah, definitely. The Eagles, I believe, were 6th in passing yards and rushing yards allowed last year, but 3rd in overall defense and points allowed. So they were giving up the yards, but not necessarily giving up the points every time, or limiting to field goals. So we'll be curious to see how this defense steps up and supports the offense tonight. Now, defensively for the Vikings, they have a couple of studs on defense that we're expecting to be pretty visible tonight.
Darian Henry and Jaheim Thomas are the real future of this team, and both of those guys, plenty of tackles last season. This is a really good D-core for Princeton this year, and that they're going to put out on the field. So if these guys can perform well and get the rest of the defense on board here, this is going to be a pretty fun defense to watch for Princeton.
Yeah, we're expecting a fantastic game, an old GMC rivalry from a few years ago before Milford left for the ECC. We're expecting a big crowd on hand. It's Princeton's home opener, and not a bad drive at all for the Eagles fans and faithful to make the trip over from Claremont County, trying to see what their team can put on the field this year. And of course, it's the 21st annual Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown, a great event put on by Tom Gamble and his team. We'll be right back with the opening kickoff in just a moment.
back to throw. Eagles got to slings one out there. It's picked off.
He'll draw up the middle. He's got room.
5. Touchdown, Collins. Time, no pressure is going to go to the end zone. Touchdown, Milford Eagles.
Johnny Miller over the middle. He's got Mancini Jackson over Mancini into the end zone. Mancini.
Welcome back to Friday Night Football on ICRC-TV Sports. Glenn Olson and Patrick Geshen with you. We've made our way up to our broadcast position high atop Pat Mancuso Field at Viking Stadium here at the 50-yard line. Newly renovated, or brand new press box and new bleachers here at Viking Stadium. So a lot of energy and excitement in the air. These fans are enjoying the new comfortable and safer bleachers. The Vikings, as you see on your screen, just made their way onto their field. A little bit of pyrotechnics out there and some pump-up music, Patrick, and the Eagles are on the other side of the field waiting to come out and get this 21st annual Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown underway.
And we're ready. Week 1 of the regular season. It seems like we just ended last season yesterday, but we're back and ready for it, and a big crowd on hand for this one tonight, ready to see some action.
A couple storylines for you to watch in case you did miss our pregame. First, for the Princeton Vikings, we are expecting to see Hosea Harrison out at quarterback. We're in jersey number 2. We didn't see a lot of him in pregame warm-ups, but did see him for the coin toss. For the Milford Eagles, brand new quarterback, as we mentioned, Blake King has graduated off to his college academic and athletic career now, and Hunter Thompson taking the reins of this high-powered Eagles offense under Tom Griffin.
And we'll see how they do. This is 2 guys that have very limited varsity experience, and this is Friday night under the lights, so we'll see how they can handle the pressure and how they're going to handle early on here in this game, especially. The nerves are probably getting at them right now, so we'll see how they can handle that pressure, and we'll see how the offense of both of these teams works. A lot of questions.
Another storyline to watch is the Milford special teams unit. We saw a lot of different players kicking the football, both place kicking, kickoffs, and punts in pregame warmups. Vince Ringland is out at the 40-yard line to get things underway for the Eagles, awaiting the Princeton Vikings to get situated back on their special teams unit to get this game underway. These Vikings uniforms are very sharp, but those gray numbers are very hard to see, especially when the jerseys bunch up on the players. So we'll do our best to give you an accurate call on who's touching the football, making the tackles for the Vikings tonight. But keep that in mind. We may make some mistakes along the way. Players love them. That's what matters. They don't make uniforms for broadcasters, Patrick.
Definitely not.
All right, so Ringland's got it teed up at the 40-yard line. Clock reads 12 minutes. All we need are the referees to signal that they're ready. And we'll get week 1, first Friday night of the Ohio High School Athletic Association varsity football season underway. Ringland is ready. There's the whistle. Here we go. A little bit of a low kick. Going to sail out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. We're at the 11-yard line, so not the start that the Eagles wanted. And as we mentioned, we're going to have to keep an eye on that special teams play tonight, Patrick, and not the start for Milford they would have.
Yeah, definitely a lot of questions coming in here, and this is where you got to start a game off correctly. You got to do a kickoff right, and obviously not the start they wanted.
Kicking team. That's a 5-yard penalty. Tacked on from the 35-yard line. First and down.
And you don't want Princeton to start on the 35-yard line in a home game first week of the year.
We are fortunate to have our referee, Tim Baumgartner, mic'd up for tonight, not only here in the stadium, but on the broadcast. So you'll be hearing from Tim. Hopefully not too much for either team. Here we go. The Vikings' first offensive possession of 2018 about to get underway. Quarterback puts the man in motion. He's going to keep it himself. Nice hole develop up the middle for Harrison. He's going to advance the football out to the 45-yard line. About a 9.5-yard run, just shy of the first down.
And this is a guy, again, we talked about little varsity experience, but if he can make a big impact, that's going to be great for Princeton this season.
Played about 5 games last year before ending the season with an injury. I believe he played 4 and then had 1 appearance against Fairfield before calling it a season. So second and a very short one to go. Two backs in the backfield. It's going to be a handoff up the middle. First down and more, advancing the ball into Eagle territory. Got to watch that first down indication. That could be a penalty in the high school game there.
Yeah. Well, Trey Key is the running back there in this position, and we thought they would run Thomas Boyd, the sophomore, who has little varsity experience, who head coach Mike Daniels said is very talented, but they start the run game with Trey Key, so we'll have to watch that as well.
As I mentioned, the Vikings now into Eagles territory. 1st and 10 from the Eagles 45. Man in motion takes the ball. Flag comes in. He's tackled out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Running that ball for Princeton was Aaron Coates. Be a penalty against the Vikings. Wait for the official announcement from Mr. Baumgartner.
Crackback. Number 7 on the offense. 15 yards from the spot of the foul. Still one.
Okay, so an illegal crackback block on Princeton's going to back them up and halt their momentum momentarily, Pat. It's going to put them back into their own territory. The Eagles will take it however they can get it.
Another different player to rush the football there for Princeton as well, and Aaron Coates.
You can see there the football is just shy of Princeton's own 40-yard line on the near hash. First in a bunch. First and 25 is what the scoreboard says. 10:55 remaining. We're a minute and 5 seconds into this opening quarter. Two old GMC rivals squaring off here tonight. Direct snap to number 10, Dorian Durham, excuse me. He doesn't find a lot of room as he tries the left side of the field. Good job by the Eagle defense.
Strong defensive pressure there.
Loss of a yard, maybe two. So it's going to make second and long, second and longer. Second and 27 now officially on the scoreboard. Two receivers to the top, and to the bottom, excuse me. Man in motion comes across the formation. Hairston dumps it off, caught at the shoelaces, pass is complete. Good yards after catch as the Vikings approach midfield.
That's a good second down yardage there, just a short pass over the middle, and you want to get it to where you can possibly pick up a first down on third down. And a good play there for Princeton to at least give themselves a chance here a little bit.
It's Trey Key, the running back. That completion. So a nice pickup of 8 yards, but still third and long for the Vikings. It's 3rd and 17. Another pass play for the Vikings, trying to step away from the pressure. Can he avoid it? He does. Hairston slips away and tries the left side. A lot of white jerseys there that aren't able to bring him down. He'll get the ball out into Eagle territory at the 44-yard line, maybe the 43, but still going to be well shy of the first down. But watch on this replay here.
Such an athletic play, and this is probably why they want him to be their quarterback this year. If he can avoid pressure like that and be a threat on the ground, that's going to be great for Princeton. And like you said, Glenn, even though it's not a first down, still better to be in Milford territory than your own.
Yeah, 4th and 8 instead of 4th and 18. Vikings lining up like they're going to try to convert this 4th down. See if they're trying to get the Eagles to jump. The 5 yards won't do them a whole lot of good. Get their pre-snap read and look over for adjustments from the sideline. And there is a penalty flag that's going to come out on the field for delay of game. The Vikings will back up 5 yards and punt the football away. You saw Coach Daniels make the kicking indication with his foot, so a design penalty there. If you will.
Smart move. Slows down the game a little bit as well, and kind of creates a little bit of a timeout before the punt team comes on.
After the penalty, that'll put the football back to the Eagles' 48-yard line. Out to handle the punting is number 12, Bryce Burton. 5'11", 220-pound senior, also plays linebacker. Maybe some early personnel issues for the Vikings as they have a late player run onto the field late. It's 3rd and 3. Robert Rutherford comes out and joins special teams. Milford shows they're going to bring pressure and then back off into protection. It's going to take a Vikings bounce and be downed inside the 5-yard line. The Eagles special teams unit thought it was going to get into the end zone, but the speedy Vikings were there to down it.
And that's a huge play right there, and a very, very smart move on the 5-yard penalty they took on purpose, because if they didn't get that yardage, that's in the back of the end zone.
Excellent observation, Pat. So the revamped Eagles offense with Hunter Thompson, we're expecting to see under center, according to all the reports in the media. See if that is indeed the case, and they will begin the 2018 campaign with a little bit of adversity, backed up the shadow of their own end zone. Quarterback is Jake Ayler.
Listed as a wide receiver and defensive back.
Handoff, trying to find some room on the left side. Not a whole lot there thanks to that swarming Viking defense. There was a handoff to number 28, Cameron Kells. We expect to be calling his name a lot on the running plays and on the design passes out of the backfield.
Yes, we do. Over 500 yards last season for these Milford Eagles team, and it's a team that likes to live on the ground here.
The Eagles still backed up into their own end zone. The snap will be taken in their end zone. Actually, that's a design keeper by the quarterback, who's going to advance the ball out to the 7-yard line. And once again, that was Jake Ayler taking the direct snap. Not a whole lot of room to work with for the Eagles early, setting up a 3rd and long situation. It's 3rd and 6. But a little more room getting out of the shadow of that end zone, as I said. 2 receivers to the bottom, 1 to the top of the formation. Whistles on the field.
Timeout for Milford.
Milford's going to take their first timeout early in the game. They want to convert this 3rd down.
Their first team charge timeout.
Their first one, Mr. Baumgartner just said. But opportunity to get everybody on the same page and try to convert this 3rd down, not to give the Vikings a short field to work with.
And it'll be huge here, especially on the road, to get that first down. You talk about momentum in games like this, and that first down might give them some momentum, but you don't want to hand the football away to Princeton either. That's an interesting personnel change there, and we don't know exactly what's behind it, but Hunter Johnson, we thought was going to be the quarterback in this game. We talked so much about him in the pregame, but Jake Ayler comes out as a wide receiver and defensive back in the quarterback position, so we'll have to kind of catch and see what's going on there.
But back out now at quarterback is number 13, Hunter Johnson.
All right.
I believe that early quarterback situation was just designed to you're going to have to run your way out of the shadow of the end zone, not get your quarterback exposed to those licks early in the season and early in the game.
That's a good idea.
So Johnson will settle in at the quarterback position now.
3rd down for the Eagles.
7:01 on the game clock. Big 3rd down upcoming here for the Eagles. First pass of the game is complete across the middle, and that'll be good for a 1st down and more. So that's that high-flying Eagle attack we were expecting to see. First pass completion of the year.
And they liked to pass a lot last year under Blake King, and this was a team that really kind of lived in the air, but now you get a guy in there like Hunter Johnson, and maybe he's got a good arm. We haven't really seen him in varsity action yet this season. That might be an area where they can get some yardage this year.
It's complete to Jake Ayler. Fresh set of down for the Eagles. They keep their first offensive possession of 2018 alive, and a dangerous pass across the middle could have been intercepted. Johnson was once again looking for Ayler. Sailed just a little bit off his fingertips. There were 3 red jerseys in the vicinity, Patrick.
That's a very risky play, but maybe trying to catch Princeton a little bit off guard there after that 1st down pickup.
See the Princeton defensive staff signaling in their plays for their defensive charges. 2nd and 10. Clock stopped after the incompletion. Johnson fakes the handoff, quick dump off over to the right side, and again a risky pass in tight coverage that's going to be complete to number 2, Dylan Hughes. He was a favorite target of Blake King last year, speeding down those sidelines and making great catches.
And that's a very athletic play there to hang on to the football. And like you mentioned, Glenn, a lot of risky passes early on here. It's a pretty confident Milford team.
Gain of 6 on the play, 2nd and 4. 3rd and 4 for the Eagles, excuse me. Johnson had a clean pocket. Ball was deflected at the line. Looks like he was again trying to dump that across the middle to Jake Ayler. Falls incomplete. So the special teams unit will come out for Milford. See who will handle the punting duties. As we mentioned, saw a couple different players taking the snaps and practicing kicks in the pregame. It looks like it's going. It is number 52, Brian Stevens. Thought it might have been a 7 at first. I'm going to double check that. Punt is fielded cleanly at the 39-yard line. He tries to go backwards, and the flock of Eagles catch up to him to limit him to a loss. No chance at a gain on that return. That was number 15, Trey Key, handling those punt return duties. So the Eagles showed a little bit of promise on that offensive possession, not able to sustain it. And the Vikings are going to take over back at their own 37-yard line, not far from where they ended their last possession. Handoff. Get the ball out past the 45-yard line. Number 5, Aaron Coates. Nice pick up. Try to set it down for the Vikings. Going to have the ball at their own 47-yard line. Picked up 11 or 12 yards on that last play. Nifty play there. Quarterback takes a snap, immediately hands it off, but the Eagles are ready for it. Limits the gain to about 3 yards. Trey Key, the ball carrier again, but the ball does advance ever so slightly into Eagles territory. 2nd and 7.
And so far seen many running plays for this Princeton team, so we'll see if they are going to ever go to the air here.
As we mentioned, Eagles prone to give up some yards on defense, but not a lot of points in the 2017 campaign. Harrison's going to keep it himself. Hold does not materialize in the middle, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 white jerseys. Limit his gain. Pick those number 37, Hayden Johnson leading the way for the Eagles, but there is a penalty flag on the field right around the area where the offensive line was set up on that last play. We've seen early indication of a hold.
On Princeton.
Holding offense number 15. That's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still 2nd down.
So that's Trey Key.
That's a 10-yard penalty.
Called for that penalty. 10-yard spot foul. So now it'll be 2nd and long from the Vikings' 39-yard line.
It's another penalty on offense that sets them back into their own territory.
Vikings are going to have to clean up those penalties for sure. Made promising starts and then give it back in penalties. Harrison rolls out, lets it fly, has a streaking receiver, nearly intercepted. Could have been defensive pass interference, but there on the breakup, Dustin Loudermilk, the 6-foot senior. Good defense there.
Very good defense by Loudermilk, a 6'0", 170 senior. And that pass, kind of a little weak there. It was kind of floating around in the air, and Loudermilk almost able to come down with the football. Good rollout play, though. His quarterback was open for a while.
Rollout plays can be tricky. You can't quite get your back foot set and step into the throw.
Right.
And their roles reversed. Loudermilk was ready to make the interception, and the intended receiver for Princeton had to play cornerback and kind of mugged Loudermilk a little bit. Hey, no wonder in the field, play on. 3rd and long, 3rd and 18, 4:19 in the opening quarter here from Pat Mancuso Field at Viking Stadium. Timeout's going to be taken by the Princeton Vikings, also on 3rd down, similar to what the Milford Eagles did. They want to talk things over on a big 3rd down conversion opportunity here. Take a look at the Princeton schedule for this year, Patrick, and pretty tough as always.
Very tough. Look at those opponents. You got Coleraine, Lakota East. You go down the list, a team in Oak Hills, and then you got Lakota West, who's in a big game with Coleraine this week. And then Mason and Hamilton to round out the schedule. That's very tough. And that's kind of what GMC will hand you in some of these games. Just some really top-level teams in it, and that's why Princeton's trying to get back this season. They're looking at their talent and offense, and they're trying to get back defensively. And you got your second-year head coach in Mike Daniels, who's attempting to get more energy back into this team. So this is obviously a tough schedule, but they look down it and they're trying to encourage themselves into it and win a few more games after a 4-6 overall record last season.
Of course, the GMC went to that 8-game league schedule beginning in the 2017 season, the second year for that of I believe it's a 4-year experiment. Wide open pass, blown coverage by the Eagles. Pass was complete to Trey Key, who's racing down the right sideline, hurdles one defender and into the touchdown. That play originated on the 39-yard line. That'll be a 61-yard touchdown pass. Hairston to Key.
Well, they must be lucky they took the timeout here. It's just a simple little play to the near side, and Trey Key at 5'6", 160, able to catch the pass, and you see him get open there along the near side, lost in the coverage, and just kind of runs through that near sideline, gets the blocks he needs, and it is 6-0 for the home team.
Missed assignment for the Eagles cost them dearly. Point after kick on the way. Snaps a little bit low in front of the holder, but he's able to get it set. Barrel it through the uprights. Milford takes him, Princeton Vikings take an early 7-0 lead in this contest. 61-yard touchdown pass. Hairston the Key.
And that's the start they need, obviously, after those penalties, and then they get the good special teams play in their first drive, and that sort of thing you get, and you never know when plays like that are going to happen. So obviously some early defensive issues for Milford to watch out for.
And of course, Bryce Burton was the kicker on that point after try, and really a great recovery by the holder. The holder is number 10, Darian Durham, and the snap came in a little low in front of him. He was able to get that ball placed nicely for Burton to sail through the uprights. So good start for the Princeton Vikings, some adversity on their second offensive possession, but able to convert on a 3rd and long into a 61-yard touchdown pass.
And that's an important trait for a team that wants to be successful. You have to overcome those things, and penalties will happen, and the other team doing stuff will happen, and the timeouts will happen. But if you can overcome those things and generate some momentum from it, that's going to really help.
Well, the couple of Princeton games I did last year, momentum really was a contributing factor. They would perform well, and then in the second half, the other team makes adjustments, and they would get a little frustrated, it seemed, and not perform well, but nothing but confidence on the near sideline right now for the Princeton Vikings. Good start to the season for Coach Daniels and his team.
Well, that's good. You got to start well physically, but it's also mentally. How confident are you? How prepared are you mentally? How into the game are you? And it looks like they've got that figured out here in these first few minutes of this season.
Whistles after the kick. Perhaps somebody got out in front of the coverage there. It was fielded by Cameron Kells on the far side of the 2 deep back. That'll back the Vikings up a couple of yards.
Early indication was an offside.
Somebody got out in front of the kicker a little bit, right?
Yep.
I believe they made that a point of emphasis in football this year, even at the pro level, to not let, with all the focus on the safety of the kickoffs and things, to ensure that the special teams unit are not getting out in front of the kicker, getting that big head start. So Burton will tee it up, this time from the Vikings' own 35-yard line. Kell's still back deep, along with Dylan Hughes, the near side.
Big opportunity here for Milford. They want to answer.
Ball kick down the middle. Well, if that one could have went into the end zone for a touchback. Hughes elects to return it, passes the 20. He's going to be brought down before he's able to get to the 25-yard line. It'll be marked down at the 24. Looked like he might have had a heel in the end zone as well from our angle up here. Definitely would have been a touchback had he let that one go. Speedy Dylan Hughes brings it out, and the Eagles will take their second offensive possession of the game, starting at the 24-yard line.
A little bit better than their own 3.
Yes, a little more room with which to work, right? That means we will see Hunter Johnson at quarterback. Again, instead of Cameron Kells, trying to give the Eagles room. A handoff up the middle, and the Vikings are ready for it. Just a big scrum of white and red jerseys. I guess it goes without saying the Eagles in all white and the Princeton Vikings in red with the gray numerals on the jerseys. A little bit of an overcast day here. It was warm in the tri-state today. About halfway through my trip here, the sun faded and the sky was pretty soupy. The forecast at this point does not call for any rain. Not a huge issue with the field turf here, but will definitely make the ball a little slicker. 2 to the top and 2 to the bottom for the Eagles. Excuse me, top and bottom. I don't think I said that right. But, pass is incomplete nonetheless, trying to find Jake Ayler, one of his favorite targets.
And Tyrell Franklin came into that pass, and as soon as it hit the ground, he got right to it. Could have intercepted that right off there near the 35-yard line.
Eagles need to get the ball out to just past the 34-yard line for a first down. It's 3rd and long. Scoreboard has it at 13. Looks more like 11. Pretty clean pocket. Johnson had a receiver down the middle and looked like he got his feet tangled up. No flag coming. It was one of the defenders.
Yeah, that was Dylan Hughes, the intended target, looking for a pass interference there with a little bit of contact with the defensive back, but does not get it. And a very, very aggressive drive so far for Milford, as they will bring out the punt team on 4th down.
Yeah, typically not going to get that call when the feet get tangled up. It's more when there's hand checking and things going on. So the Eagles will punt it away again. 3:09 remaining in the opening quarter. A lot of pressure being applied by the Vikings. Punt is somewhat muffed. Vikings do recover it, though. It was a low punt. Not a pretty kick by any means. Viking special teams player reached up for it, tapped off his hand, but his fellow deep back was able to fall on the football back there. So they'll give up about 5 yards, but still good field position nonetheless. You see the kick, kind of a low, just call it what it is, an ugly kick. Couldn't quite hang on to it there, and the ball's going to roll back about 5 yards. 1st and 10 from their own 40-yard line for the Vikings. 2:59 remaining in the opening quarter. Princeton with a 7-0 lead. 2 receivers to the bottom of the formation, 1 to the top. Each back and running back in the backfield with Hairston. Handoff. Ran into his own man. He fell to the ground pretty quickly. Trey Key. Reminiscent of that butt fumble game for the Jets a couple of years ago.
Well, that's just kind of the stuff you run into early in the season when you're working with some newer players. And
pun intended, right?
Yep.
Run into.
Yeah, exactly. Things like that will happen.
Nice work, Pat. You're on your A game early in the season. I like it. All right, so the Vikings going backwards now. 2nd and 12. Hairston's going to roll out again to his right. We saw that play on the last possession. Here comes the pressure. He steps away from it. He's going to tuck it and be forced out of bounds by number 26, Cameron Hemmert.
And we've seen Jose Hairston run on the ground a little bit more. We thought he'd be the quarterback coming in, but looks like they're going to use him on the run game a little bit more this season. And that'll be a good spot for him. He's taken a few snaps here in this game so far and was able to escape that sack. If you remember earlier on in the game, was able to pick up a few yards from it. So that's possibly a piece of the puzzle here for this run game for Princeton.
3rd and 12 from their own 38-yard line. We know what they did on 3rd down on their last possession. Flag comes in early. It's going to be a deep pass down the middle. Free play of Sense will fall incomplete. That one came in from the side judge. Assume that will be on Princeton just based on the location. Yep.
Flag on the play was an illegal shift on the Vikings.
Looks like Eagles will decline it and leave.
Illegal shift. The 2 wideouts were not set for 1 second. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
Yeah, you don't want to give them another crack on 3rd down.
No.
So heard it was an illegal shift. Both receivers were not set that were in motion. Here comes the punt unit for the Princeton Vikings. Bring Burton back out.
And a 3rd straight drive for Princeton with a penalty involved that brings him back.
4th down for the Vikings.
4th and 12, high punt. Not a lot of distance, but a lot of hang time. Will be fielded cleanly around the 43-yard line. Good field position for the Eagles to start this drive, Patrick.
And this might be what they need to get that pass game going here early on and get the receivers on the same page after a few drives, maybe some uncertainties on the field. They may have worked that out now and now closer to the end zone and possibly want to get that offense going here.
Well, the quarterback, Hunter Johnson, as we talked about, no varsity or limited varsity experience last year.
Yep.
May have thrown 7 passes or something like that, ran the ball a few times. So get some of those jitters out of the way early and try to get settled in. He certainly has the offensive weapons around him. Where the Eagles lost mainly was on the offensive line and some defensive players, a lot of those skill players back, as we talked about in our pregame.
He's got one heck of an arm too. We've seen his throws very hard.
Fake the handoff. There's Connor Foster, the Northwestern commit, who is tripped up and coughs up the football across midfield. I'm going to say he was down. Connor was, you can see here on the replay, had to stretch out a little bit for that ball and then trying to hurdle a defender, and ground caused the fumble. Fortunately for the Eagles and their fans, they do maintain possession. They are into Vikings territory with the ball on the 46-yard line. Under 1:40 to go in the opening quarter now. This Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown contest. Two wideouts to the top and the bottom. Johnson calls for the ball and a penalty. Probably a false start on the Eagles.
Dead ball. Delay.
Nope.
Offense.
Couldn't get it off in time.
5 yards. Still 1.
Get caught up in all that arguing about whether it was a fumble or not, I guess, and pleading your case and lose track of the 25-second clock.
Yep.
So that'll back the Eagles up 5 yards, turn 1st and 10 into 1st and 15. We're under 120 now. To the bottom, 2 to the top, running back in the backfield with Johnson. Vikings showing blitz. Clean pocket, pass, going down the right sideline. Gain separation into the end zone. Touchdown, Milford Eagles. Boy, just fantastic separation there by Dylan Hughes. We talked about how he was a weapon for Blake King last year, streaking down those sidelines, and he does it again for Hunter Johnson this time.
That's another top target, and we talked about the pass and how they could get that going, and it looks like they finally found it here with Dylan Hughes getting past the defender there, and Milford now on the board again. We knew they had the answer in this possession, and they end up doing so with a huge play there and a great catch by Dylan Hughes.
Now the special teams question. We have that funky bunch formation over to the left, and offensive line comes back out to the middle. We saw that out of Princeton a couple times last year, and to make this extra point attempt is Grace Ertl wearing number 17. Grace Ertl is a female, by the way, in case you didn't know it. Clean snap, kick is up and through the uprights. It's good. Grace Ertl converts the extra point attempt for the Milford Eagles. So, we talked about Johnson's arm. Saw Dylan Hughes create some separation. Now the Vikings defense has a little something to worry about.
A little something to worry about, and I think Milford there, we saw kind of the jitters of this inexperienced offensive core there on that first possession, but now they're finally able to get the engine going here, and this is going to be a team that's going to be very, very good on offense if they can continue these sort of plays up, making big plays in key situations, and if they're able to get the offensive thing going, especially in the air, that's going to be very, very dangerous for not only Princeton, but the rest of the teams in the Eastern Cincinnati Conference.
One thing that Tom Grippa is known for is explosive offensive systems. And you can see why on that play right there.
I would definitely call that play explosive.
Dylan Hughes, just again, can't say it enough, probably tired of me saying it at this point, was an explosive weapon. And you saw the separation there at the end of that play as he got inside the 10-yard line, creating that separation from the defender and put it right in the breadbasket.
Just so fast, and he was able to create separation 10 yards downfield and is able to become a big target, and that's what Milford needs.
All right, so the kick is fielded at the 18-yard line. The return man still on his feet as he crosses the 35, and there's a flag comes in late. There was some extracurricular activity going on at the end of that play. I have a hunch it's going to be on the men in red and gray.
And that's another discipline issue that they need to figure out here. This is their fourth penalty of the game already, and this is one that can easily be avoided.
The referees are going to huddle up and talk it over. But Coach Daniels there eagerly awaiting. I'm sure he'll protest if it goes against his team. Personal foul against the Vikings.
Dead ball. Personal foul, number 16. After the play had ended. That's a 15-yard penalty. Still first down and 10.
Number 16 is Kevin Suttles. He's a junior wide receiver. He'll set the Viking offense back to their worst field position of the night. They're going to start this drive from the 21-yard line.
The Vikings will take over first down on 21.
See if they can get the ground game working here.
Well, they need to get something working besides the penalty game. They're right on cue and tripped up over a defender. Is Harrison out across the 30-yard line to the 32.
Well, again, Hairston on the ground here, and this is his impact so far in this game, and he's able to dodge a lot of guys. He uses that big 6'1", 190 body to dodge through the defenders. Very athletic kid, and this is some good news for them in their running game.
So it is a first down for the Princeton Vikings. Just under 50 seconds to go in the opening quarter here. First and 10, handoff to Key up the middle. It's going to be good for about 3 yards.
And run with by number 27, Thomas Boyd.
The Vikings electing to try to pound things out through the ground, or on the ground right now, and instead of through the air. It seems to be working so far with some small gains. Single receiver to the top and the bottom. That's going to be a quick pass out to number 1, Cameron Thomas. Jermaine Wimpy, excuse me. Jersey numbers reaching up and sneaking on me, Patrick. That was Jermaine Wimpy, number 7. And that is the end of the first quarter. The score at the end of one is Milford 7, Princeton 7. Been an interesting quarter so far. Your observations, Patrick?
Well, I really like Milford's passing game, and if they're able to continue that throughout this game, they've got a pretty good chance to win it. Princeton, though, I think it's just the discipline issues and the penalties that's really been hurting them so far. They get that good play and the touchdown catch from Trey Key, but again, they got to really think about those penalties here as we go.
Okay, we're going to step away for a quick break. We'll be right back in just a few moments.
Do you A, prepare yourself, B, make the best of it,
25.
Good job.
or C, find a loophole? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
I'll be right back.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
Welcome back to the second quarter, Friday Night Football on ICRC-TV. Quick start to the quarter by the Vikings as they change direction on the field. Pat, some interesting things on the stat sheet that Chancel handed to us.
Well, we look at rushing yards, and that's the first category we really saw here. And Milford, 3 attempts for 3 yards. Princeton, 11 attempts for 51 yards. We knew coming in this game, Milford was going to live in the air if they wanted some offensive success. Princeton more on the ground, and they're using a lot of guys to do it. And that so far has been the strategy for either team here.
Well, 7-7, and there's timeout. It's going to be taken by Princeton, so that'll give us a chance to catch our breaths a little bit, Pat.
That's our second team charge timeout and a half.
Thank you, Mr. Baumgartner. So I was about to say we've had a 61-yard touchdown pass and a 51-yard touchdown pass. And we were joking during the break, it's not a game of inches, it's a game of big plays at the moment.
Very big plays, and again, that's the type of game that you got to be able to win here so far. And both of these touchdowns have been off of either a great play on offense or kind of a defensive breakdown. So it's going to be about mistakes and who's going to make mistakes and who's going to take advantage of the other team's mistakes. So not necessarily one of those games, Glenn, where you're trying to grind through the run game and pick up 1 or 2 yards here and there, but it's going to be who's going to be able to make the big play at the big time. That's going to decide this one tonight. As we look at the Milford schedule.
Milford, the traditional 3 out-of-conference games. Of course, starting here tonight at Princeton, they've had a series the last few years. They'll go to Northern Kentucky and take on Dixie Heights. Kettering-Fairmont is a team that beat this Eagles team soundly last year, and really similar situations. Fairmont was an up-and-coming program that had been in the skids for a while, so to speak. So tough slate of early games for the Eagles. Hairston's on the move, finds a lane down the left sideline.
Wow.
He steps out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. He'll be marked down at the 27. So, again, it's not a game of inches at this point. It's a game of big plays.
And who can make the best decisions? Hairston there waited such a long time to pass the football, and then he finally decides to keep it for himself. And just couldn't find anything downfield. The line was collapsing and is able to keep it for a pretty nice gain of over 20 yards. Another good run play for Hairston.
1st and 10 from the 27 of Milford. Handoff. Big hole up the middle. 10-5. Touchdown, Princeton Vikings. Boy, that one couldn't have worked much better, Patrick.
On the run game again. And you look at another big play for a touchdown. This one came from the 27-yard line. And the home team takes a 13-7 lead.
Thomas Boyd, we talked about him in the pregame,
Yep.
makes his presence known here early in the second quarter. It's a great touchdown scamper.
And that's a big sophomore with a lot of talent, and they're going to develop him over these next few years. He's already good, but he has the potential to be really, really good. And this is a guy that Mike Daniels is really excited to have on his team this season and for the seasons to come. This is a guy that's got a lot of potential in their ground game, and you see 11 rushing attempts in the first quarter. They're going to want to get as many yards as they can off those, and Boyd is a guy that can make that happen.
Low snap, but fielded cleanly, and Burton sends it through the upright. So the Vikings take a 14-7 lead after a 27-yard touchdown run by the sophomore, Thomas Boyd.
And that's kind of a smaller scoring play as we've seen tonight, Glenn, like we just mentioned. But hey, any way you can get them, you'll take them. And Princeton tonight, so far on the ground, has been pretty good. And they're up.
I'm sure the Milford defensive staff is not going to be pleased about a 61-yard catch and run for a touchdown, as well as a 27-yard run for a touchdown when there were white jerseys in the vicinity that could have brought the play to a halt before the Vikings were able to reach the end zone. So some adjustments for sure to be made by the Eagles defensive staff, but momentum squarely on the side of the Princeton Vikings at this point. 11:08 remaining in the second quarter. Burton will tee it up from the 40-yard line. Eagles now moving left to right on your screen, essentially east to west. Wind has died down a little bit. It was a little bit gusty coming out of the south in the pregame. That one will be fielded and muffed at the 1-yard line, but picked back up. The blocking just can't hold in front of him. Boy, that's a fired-up Viking squad right now, Patrick. That was Dylan Hughes on the return.
And we talked about momentum early on and how you noticed last year they really fed off that, and mentally they seemed to be a little bit shaky at the start, but maybe they're trying to kind of recover and get back on the positive mental side right now. Definitely the field is tilted their direction.
We'll see if the Eagle offense has any quick strike capability in them, or if they choose to try to grind a drive out here in the second quarter to try to draw even with the Vikings. Pretty exciting contest. And boy, look at this. Princeton offensive unit is huddled up in front of us from our broadcast position down on the track. And boy, they are pumped. Design keeper for Johnson. There's a flag that's going to fly in. He's drugged down into the backfield before he's able to turn the corner. Flag came in from the back judge.
Ball came out on the play too, and they're not going to rule. He's going to say he was down.
Getting the indication on the penalty. Personal foul, face mask against Princeton. So what turned in to be a good defensive play is yet another penalty.
Personal foul. Number 17 on the defense. Pulling on the face mask. 15 yards. First down.
It's the biggie, the 15-yarder. You're going to see it here on the replay. Must have been away from the play there, but Princeton had 5 penalties for 50 yards in the first quarter and tack on 15 more there. So the penalties continue to be a thorn in the side to a certain extent of the Vikings. 3 receivers to the bottom, 1 to the top for the Eagles. Johnson takes the snap, dumps it off with pressure coming his way. Dangerous throw into a lot of red jerseys over there. Falls incomplete. Clock will stop. 10:48.
That's another risky play. We haven't had any turnovers tonight, but it seems to be that Hunter Johnson likes to make that risky throw. And if Milford comes in that confident and it's Princeton defense picks up their play here, that might be an issue and create some turnovers.
Haven't been any turnovers yet, but we've had a couple close calls.
Definitely.
2 to the bottom, 1 to the top again. Johnson rolls that to his right, has time, lets it fly in the face of pressure. Princeton is wanting to call that incomplete. The official's going to say the pass was completed. So the pass is complete out to the 44-yard line. It's going to be a yard shy of the first down. We see Johnson let it go maybe a tick sooner than he wanted to. His receiver had to come back to that football for a little bit.
Sets up a very manageable play here, though, on 3rd down.
3rd and 1. See if the Eagles try to get the Vikings to jump with a hard count, play clock now just under 20 seconds, so plenty of time to try to do that, should they choose to do so. They do not. Hand off to Kells, looking for room, tries to spin away, but he's upended. But it'll be good for the first down. He needed 1, he got 2.
He's a big piece of this Milford running game, and they only attempted 3 rushes in that first quarter, but if they do go on the ground, they look for Kells, and he's able to pick up the necessary yardage there to continue the drive.
Yeah, last year the rushing yards seemed to come primarily from Blake King at quarterback. he was the first running option, but definitely not seen that out of Johnson so far this year. Johnson calls for the snap. 2 to the top, 2 in the bottom. Vikings showing blitz. Quick dump off complete to Dylan Hughes. He cuts over to the left. He's going to go across the field, turns the corner, 40, 35, 30, has a blocker out in front, 20, 10, and he's going to be brought down inside the 10-yard line, and the ball is loose and on the ground. Holy cow, what a turn of events. Just a fantastic catch and run, and Dylan Hughes fumbles the ball on the tackle. It's going to be Princeton deep in their own territory.
And that's a great camera shot by our ICRC crew. And Dylan Hughes might be a little bit shaken up on the bottom of that pile. This all starts there on the near sideline, right the 50-yard line, and Hughes cuts across the field. And another play where Princeton's defensive coverage is a little bit messed up there. And we'll see how this fumble happens. He was tackled by 2 players there, and from behind, it looks like the ball is knocked loose by Jermaine
Wimpy, yep.
We want to give a big shout out.
Scarborough in on that as well.
To the high school All-American, college All-American.
Yeah, so wow, what an unfortunate turn of events for the Milford Eagles. Dylan Hughes, just a tremendous play, cutting across the field, getting down into the corner near the end zone, tackled from behind, coughs up the football. Now the Vikings are going to look for some room out of the shadow of their own end zone. They're going to find it with about an 8-yard run to start this series.
That's kind of the play you need there if you're Princeton. Just try to get back out of the end zone, and now they got a second down and manageable here. Looks like 2nd and 1 is where they're going to spot it. That's a lucky turnover for Princeton, and that's a mistake that Milford made there down almost near their offensive end zone. So let's see if they can take advantage of it, get some more points on the board.
Not to pile on, but that's a huge mistake and a tremendous play by the Vikings defense.
Yes.
Milford would have been 1st and goal inside the 10-yard line. Handoff goes to the right side before running into a flock of white jerseys. Thomas Boyd with that carry. Sophomore that we've talked about.
And he's playing in his first varsity game too, so this is the first time he's played on the Friday Night Lights. And it looks like so far in the little bit that we've seen him, Glenn, he's handled the pressure pretty well, coming up with some big yardage. Yeah,
I think so, and now Princeton gets out of that shadow of their end zone, getting the football out to the 17-yard line, a lot more room, a lot more flexibility now. Hairston's going to pass. A little bit of pressure coming his way. A flag's going to come in. I believe it's going to be a hold on Princeton. It's that defender in the white jersey shook loose. He was grabbed from behind. I think it's going to be a hold. He's going to back the Vikings up a little bit. Sorry, my boom's drifting again.
There's going to be another penalty too, Glenn, that they can.
Holding, offense number 79. Half the distance to the goal. Still 1.
Just more yardage on the penalties there. That's got to stop.
Yep, Elijah Hale, the guilty party that time. It's going to back the football up. Was on the 17, so back to the 7-yard line now. So instead of 1st and 10, 1st and 17-ish. Need to get the football out to the just shy of the 28-yard line. Going to snap this on the 6. Nice job of the Eagles not losing their assignments there. Good run up the middle and a blocker out in front for Princeton. So 2nd and 14. One receiver to the top, one to the bottom. H-back and a running back. Eagles showing a little bit of pressure. Quick dump off out to the left side of the formation, falls incomplete. Doesn't get much easier than that. Pass was intended for number 13, Caleb Crawford, junior wide receiver.
Just the 6th pass that Princeton has attempted here in this game so far.
8:23 remaining in the second quarter. So after lots of offensive action early, we see some sputtering here. Eagles with a big play opportunity. They fumbled away, and now Vikings struggling with the penalty bug again.
Big third down here.
Comes the pressure. Hairston dumps it off under pressure, and his receiver can't hang on to it right at the 15-yard line. I'm not sure that he would have got a lot out of that anyway.
Well, that's two plays in a row where they need to make the catch, and they didn't have any pressure on them. And you got to make those plays if you want to convert on those second and third down opportunities.
Yep, missed opportunity indeed for Princeton, thanks partially to that penalty bug and an aggressive Milford Eagle defense. They showed a lot of pressure that time. So 4th and 14, the Vikings will punt it away. Their punter standing just about in their own end zone. Burton back there to handle the kicking duties. Decent snap, good high kick. It's going to be fielded by number 7, Dustin Loudermilk, who has his momentum carries him a little bit backwards to catch up with the football, and he's brought down at the 46-yard line.
And we've seen Loudermilk make some good defensive plays in this game. He's broken up a lot of passes that Princeton has attempted, and this time they're on special teams. Pick up just a few yards. There's another look at the pass there they made on third down, and that's just a catch you got to make in that situation. Nobody around you. You got to pick up some yardage there, and don't really know exactly what happened, but you got to have your hands on that football if you're Princeton.
The Eagles with another crack at it on offense, trying to make amends for that fumble. They come away from it relatively unscathed, other than losing some clock time. No points given up after the fumble. 2 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom. It's back, motions across, quick dump off across the middle, and there's an interception. He knew that quick pass across the middle was going to bite him eventually, and there it does. So the Vikings get the football right back with just one play. Ball was intercepted by number 4, Elijah Eberhardt, junior cornerback.
And there's the turnover we were talking about, Glenn. Like you mentioned, another risky pass there by Milford, and Princeton able to take advantage of it, and they get the football right back. And we were talking about how aggressive this Milford team was in the pass. And this is another one from Johnson, right over the middle, gets tipped into the coverage. And Princeton now with the football here with plenty of time to work with in the second quarter, trying to take a 2-possession lead in this game.
2 straight turnovers for the Milford Eagles on offense. 1 by fumble and now 1 by interception. Nice cutback. Going to result in a nice gain up, or down to, the 36-yard line. That was Boyd on the carry.
Not a lot of yardage there, but that could have easily been a loss. It's a good athletic play.
Pick up a 4, 2nd and 6, more than manageable. 1 receiver to the top and to the bottom. Hairston, design rollout to the right. Here come the white jerseys in pursuit. He's able to turn the corner. 1st down and more. It'll be forced out of bounds at the 24-yard line. So nice design run by Hairston on the rollout. Moves the sticks.
And you know, if he's going to take a pass, he'll probably run it somewhere at some point. And a good play there. Maybe had the option to pass downfield, but instead trust the running ability of Hairston, and he's able to pick up the 1st down for Princeton. By far has been their best rusher in this game.
Yep. No doubt. It's all going to start and stop with him. Offensive line's going to have to keep him healthy. He calls for the football, handoff to Boyd. Boyd tries the right side. A flag's going to come in. Maybe a hold. It is a hold. And it will be against the Vikings. So the penalty bug surfaces again. Would have been a 1st down for Boyd.
Offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still 1.
Number 71, Vincent Munlin Jr. Now the Vikings again in a first and long situation, 1st and 20. Getting near the red zone. The ball's now back at the 34-yard line. Receiver at the bottom, one in the slot, one to the top. The top receiver goes in motion across the formation. Crawford fakes the handoff, big hole up the middle. He'll advance the football up to the 26-yard line, so a nice gain.
Well, you notice they're running Boyd a little bit more there, and that's another run by him. They're up the middle, and so far you got to like what you see out of him in this game. First varsity experience. He has no nerves, it looks like, coming in, and just kind of plows through there for some extra yardage.
2nd and long, though. Scoreboard says 8, but I think it's closer to 11. And comes in motion. Crawford again fakes the handoff, keeps it on the read option, has room down the left side, and will be forced out of bounds right around the 25, maybe the 26-yard line. So just a couple yard pickup there. Sun starting to peek back through as we approach sunset. Here in the tri-state, you can see the glare off the helmets. Stadium lights, of course, are on, but some natural sunlight as well, and the Eagles defense looking right into that. That sun.
Yeah, you might want to try a pass here if you're Princeton. Just what the heck, try to get him to look into the sun.
3 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom. Pretty good chance we're going to see that. Harrison takes the snap, rolls out to his right, looks to see if he has anybody open, elects to keep it, and he'll run out of bounds, be forced out of bounds inside the 20-yard line.
And that's why they run so many option plays. Harrison can make a pass if he feels really confident and wide open, but they trust his ability with his feet so much, and he's been able to prove that tonight so far, able to pick up some pretty quality yardage for Princeton so far. And they've got him, and you also got Thomas Boyd on the run game. So those are 2 guys that are going to make a big impact for them so far this year.
So 4th and 8, deep into Eagle territory. The ball will be snapped from the 18-yard line. Smart gamble here by the Vikings. If they don't convert, it's going to pin the Eagles offense back a little bit. Not going to spread it out quite as much this time. Maybe a run up the middle. And in motion across the formation. Looked like a pass. Harrison's going to cut back to his right, runs into his own defender, tries to find a hole up the middle before he's tripped up at the 20-yard line. So he's going to end up losing a yard, if not getting back to the line of scrimmage. So the gamble does not pay off for the Vikings.
That's tough there on a 4th down play when you're that close to the end zone. You especially want to take advantage of that interception play there, but obviously another kind of option and not a whole lot of necessarily scripted action going on as you see guys running into each other, but that's what you're going to get. At least Milford, though, starts in some not so good field position if you're Princeton.
Yeah, the 18-yard line will be the starting point. Maybe the 19. Eagles come out with 3 to the top, 1 to the bottom. 1 man in the backfield.
Flag comes in on the far side.
Play again. Let the play clock run out again. Nope. We'll go against Princeton.
Defense number 32. 5-yard penalty, still 1.
Penalty's called on number 32, James Price of the Vikings. Gives the Eagles a free 5 yards, so 1st and 5. Same look to the formation. For Milford. A little bit of a delayed snap, trying to see if they can't get 5 more free yards, give himself a little more room to work with. There the snap comes in. Handoff is faked. Quarterback tries the left side. He's going to pick up a yard or 2. It was Hunter Johnson in at quarterback for the Eagles, so it looks like he's going to settle into that position unless they're backed up deep where they need to run the ball a little bit more.
And we kind of worried early in the game because they were putting out some different guys, and especially Jake Ayler, number 18, but he hasn't been in for a snap for a little while, so it looks like, you're right, Glenn, Hunter Johnson will be the quarterback this year.
Quick pass tipped again across the middle. Could have been another interception, so Hunter Johnson continues to live dangerously across the middle of the formation.
think they might have learned their lesson after that last interception, especially after that play. Again, another close call. They've been too many of those for Milford.
Well, I know you can't throw it to Dylan Hughes down the sideline every time, but that seemed to work pretty well back in the first quarter, right?
Yeah, just a little.
Dangerous is getting middle, and Princeton with some decent enough size across the middle. Johnson just a little bit too far out in front of his receiver.
Well, it's obviously not working, so when are you going to make the adjustment? And that went maybe a little bit more towards the far sideline there, but you're right, Glenn. It's the only scoring play was that pass to the near side that Princeton kind of broke down defensively on, so that's going to be something they got to look at here as they approach the next offensive drive. But another wasted opportunity for Milford, and you're giving Princeton the football back, and they might get some good field position depending on this punt.
Well, it was 3rd and 2. You throw an intermediate length pass.
Yeah.
Essentially not terribly deep in your own territory, but deep enough with the ball at the 28-yard line. Now you've got a punt situation, and there's a timeout on the field.
That's our 3rd and final timeout of the half.
Princeton will burn their 3rd and final, as you heard, timeout of the half. Milford has burned just 1 at this point. Princeton has taken 3. I may have said that wrong. I apologize. But 4th and 2. Princeton wants to get their special teams house in order and maybe try to create a turnover here on a punt play and give them great field position with 5:01 remaining in the second quarter.
And one player tonight, Glenn, that we really haven't seen very much of for Milford would be Connor Foster, the tight end, who's the Northwestern commit. He's a big name coming into the season for them, and he's only had 1 catch in this game on 1 target, so that's a player that we haven't seen a whole lot of tonight, and definitely a player that's got a bright future in football, but they haven't really thrown him out there.
Really a fumble on the 1 target he had.
Yeah.
Milford's going to pack in the protection. Nearly a high snap. Not too much pressure from Princeton. It'll take a Milford roll inside the 25. Be down at the 24-yard line. So Milford, a little bit of an opportunity there to maybe turn the ball over and get a short field for Princeton. Does not work out. A good punt by the Eagles.
I would call that pretty decent after the special teams issues we've been talking about tonight.
Yeah, not the worst field position in the world for Princeton. As I said, they're going to be at the 24-yard line. So 4:49, plenty of time and plenty of room to work. 2 receivers to the top and the bottom. Handoff. Spin move. Another spin move. Breaks free. Boy, those spin moves paid off. Trey Key with a nice run. He's going to move the sticks for the Vikings. He's going to advance the football out to the 36-yard line.
And he's made some pretty big scoring plays tonight. He's kind of fallen off our radar and stands at only 5'6", pretty small athletic body, can dodge through those white jerseys, and 2 spin moves there, like you said, Glenn, and able to find a hole to gain some extra yardage. That's a good play.
We do have an injured Viking down on the field in between the 30 and 35-yard line. It's number 77 for Princeton, who is Michael Barnes. So we'll take a pause in the action here while Barnes is tended to out on the field by the Princeton training staff, who was honestly out there pretty quick. Not quite sure what happened, but considering his number, probably just a roll-up kind of injury, I would guess, Patrick.
And he's not putting any weight there on, I believe that's his left leg as he walks back on his own power.
Yeah, suspect we might see him back out there, get him taped up. Definitely seen worse injuries, so expect to see him back out after a little bit of attention provided from the trainer. So we'll reset the situation for you. 4:31 remaining in the second quarter. Princeton leads 14-7 over Milford. Princeton's taking over after the punt by the Eagles. The first down run, there's a quick pass out, intercepted by the Eagles at the 40-yard line.
Well, the few times Princeton has attempted a pass in this game, it's been a little shaky in terms of not making catches and kind of failed coverage. And then this time you see a interception by Milford, and they've got some good field possession too. Looks like they're going to mark it right at the 40-yard line to get another look here. Well, that's going to be a run play that they ran a little bit earlier. But the Princeton pass game tonight has been very dysfunctional at some times.
Owen Martin, the intercepting player for the Milford Eagles. So Milford comes away unscathed. Again, they get the ball back. The short field, 420. Ball spotted at the 41-yard line. Handoff, Kells bounces out to the left side. Will be forced out of bounds after about an 8-yard gain.
Pretty speedy run there by Kells, able to pick up a good 7 or 8 yards. And when they have gone on the ground, they have gone to him. Here's a look at the interception. And again, looks like the receiver there kind of fell over. That would be number 8, Sterling Burkhalter, who they haven't targeted yet tonight. And the interception made by Milford.
Eagles desperate to try to get some momentum here. Sustain this drive, run this clock out, and hopefully end up with some points out of it. Going to go back up to Kells. He's going to run straight into the scrum. He's going to be stopped for maybe a half-yard loss. I'm not sure if they're trying to soften up this Vikings defensive line, but all of a sudden, after getting the turnover, it's 3rd and 3. One good run, one not so good run. What do you do here?
Well, you probably shouldn't throw a long pass play over the middle. That would be my guess.
You're reading my mind. Dylan Hughes down to the bottom of your screen. You can see him right there above our score bug. Kells gets upended about a yard shy of the first down.
I don't think he got it.
No, not according to the spot by the officials. So he's going to be about a yard shy, and decision time for the Eagles. I don't know that it's much of a decision. You're not going to kick a field goal. You're not going to punt. So
I'd say just try another run here by Kells, see what she can pick up.
Get that jumbo package going. Milford's going to take a timeout and talk about it.
Smart.
Going to take their second timeout of the half.
That's our second team charge timeout of the half.
Thank you, Mr. Baumgartner. Heard that loud and clear. Yeah, good use of timeout by the Eagles. Can't take them with you, as the saying goes. 3:06 remaining in the opening half. It's 21st annual Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown game between these old GMC rivals. And you would look back earlier, and how long do you think it had been since these teams met on the gridiron?
Had been at least 10 years since they had met on the gridiron, so that's a long time. And two teams that don't really have a history with each other, don't really know each other too well, but sometimes that's where you find the best matchups. So It's been pretty good so far.
Tom Grippa spent some time in the GMC as the head coach of Fairfield. Did his normal turnaround job on that program during his brief stint over there after spending time at Elder and LaSalle. So a little bit of familiarity with the Vikings and their long storied history. Mike Daniels trying to find some of that magic again. Nice to see some good depth. Lots of players in uniform tonight for the Vikings on the sideline.
And it's good to see a lot of community members out at this game as well, excited about this program here in Princeton.
Yeah, Johnson maybe trying to get that first down the easy way. Gonna hand off to Kells. Kells with all kinds of room. Shifts back inside the 20-yard line, so he needed 2. Ended up getting about 15.
Well, like you said, they had to run the jumbo package, and that's exactly what they did, and picked up a little bit more than they needed. And now they're inside the red zone here with a good opportunity to score, and plenty of time, just inside 3 minutes to go in the half.
Yep, chains reset quickly. The clock got back to rolling. And here are the Eagles in the red zone all of a sudden. So a strange couple turn of events. Knocking on the door. Thompson pass off his hands. A little bit too hot, came in that time.
That's a good pass attempt though on that play. You don't want to go over the middle. They're looking more towards the near side where there's less people involved, and even though they can't come up with the catch, that's still a great throw. And I'm just impressed by Hunter Johnson's arm. He can throw this football very hard and very quick, and it's been accurate a lot of times tonight.
And the receiver was Jake Ayler. The game clock stops at 2:37 after the incompletion. It's 2nd and 10. One receiver to the top, 2 to the bottom. Kells is going to go in motion out behind that H-back, shuffle across the offensive line, trying to see if they can get the Vikings to jump a little bit. Johnson's going to roll out to his right side, lets it fly in the face of some pressure, and there's an interception.
Fumble.
Then the ball comes loose. So it's intercepted at the 1, and I believe we're going to get a touch back into the end zone. Safety.
Wow. I did not see that coming.
Wow, so Mike Daniels is absolutely furious. He's got to watch himself or he's going to get a penalty. He's a good 7 yards out onto the field arguing this call, and now he's trying to restrain some of his coaching staff. But the ruling on the field at the moment, the referees are huddling up, is an interception.
Let's get another look, Glenn.
Yeah, recovered by Princeton and into the end zone for a safety.
Throw that kind of falls off there towards the end. He makes the catch and the fumble comes. And he picks up the football. Now, question is, where was he when he did pick up the football?
Well, the home crowd does not like it, as you can tell. Mike Daniels does not like it, as you can see on your screen. Still haven't had the official ruling from Tim Baumgartner over the PA mic at this point. So that would be interesting.
Question is, where is he when he regains possession of the football after the fumble? Is he in the end zone or?
His feet are out. The ball is in.
I'd say that's a good call.
Yeah, it's close. So the safety will stand. So at 2:27, the second quarter, we have an interception, and then
early on the field is a safety. The interception occurred on the 2-yard line. The interceptor fumbled the ball back in the end zone, and then he fell on it in the end zone, which constituted a safety.
Well, that's the official explanation. I'm not quite sure that he fumbled it in the end zone.
No.
He had the ball in his hands, it looked to me from our replay, when he was tackled in the end zone, but they don't listen to us.
No.
They can't look at replay.
They got to make the call right when it happens, and that can be tough.
That's a first. I've been doing this 4 years again now. I think this is my 4th season. I've not seen that occur. So it's 14-9. I bet that Browns-Eagles game last night with a baseball score, 5-0, huh?
I saw that, and we were talking earlier today at my high school, Talawanda High School. When was the last time an NFL game ended with a 5-0 score?
I just had to laugh. Everyone's saying, well, Hugh Jackson has to be impressed by his team. He scored 5 points.
Big explosive offense.
Terod Taylor got hurt. So.
Yeah.
All right, here's the free kick. Good kick. Boy, Burton's got a leg on him. It's fielded cleanly at the 25-yard line. Hughes is going to look for a hole on the right side. Handful of jersey, and he's going to be wrangled out of bounds around the 43. So turnover bug biting the Eagles a little bit, and literally a lucky bounce there.
Literally.
Literally a lucky bounce. Not figuratively, that was literally a lucky bounce. Gets them 2 points after the turnover, so not often you can turn over the football and get 2 points out of it.
Yeah. But move on here and try to get some more points on the board and look towards tying this game. You got 2:19 left. Try to run a little bit of a 2-minute drill here. You got the ball on the 44-yard line. Try to march it downfield or look for a big play here on a throw and see what you can get out of this half.
About at the hour and 20-minute mark of this first half, so this is proving to be a very long game. High school, Princeton showing blitz. Johnson elected to tuck it and run, but he's wrapped up, and that'll be a loss of about 2 yards.
Ran out of options there downfield. All the receivers were covered.
Just a half second of indecisiveness may have cost him a yard or two there. It's now 2nd and 12, clock running under 2 minutes after the sack.
Not a real sense of urgency here, so maybe they're not trying to necessarily grab some points here.
Well,
we'll see.
You got Connor Foster split out toward the bottom now. Another receiver, 2 more to the top. Vikings showing blitz again. They back out of it. And the penalty flag comes in. It'll be a delay game on Milford.
Ball. Delay. Offense. 5 yards. Still what?
So what? 2nd down. I understand. Easy to get confused. Yep. Never happens to me. Just kidding. Easy to get confused. I think the Princeton coaching staff's thinking, you don't know what down it is, and calling out a safety.
Yeah.
All right. So 2nd and a bunch for Milford. Comes the pressure. Johnson dumps it off, and just off the fingertips of his intended receiver. So this offensive line getting a little leaky, Patrick. I mean, Johnson's been under duress the last couple plays.
I'd say that's a good adjective there, and they almost intercept this ball right out of the hands of Hunter Johnson.
Some big boys down there.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they're not lacking for size.
Oh.
But neither is that Princeton defensive line.
And that's another thing, too, that we were talking about in the open, especially, was just the amount of defensive talent on this team. You're talking about for Princeton, guys like Darian Henry and Jaheim Thomas, absolute standout players.
Boy, that's a desperation throw after the snap was on the ground, and he just wailed back and threw that one in from center field essentially to nobody on the sideline. So that was a not take the sack throw, hope it gets out of bounds without being intercepted. So now Princeton's going to have to punt the football. They're not able to convert after getting possession back after the fortuitous safety. 4th and long. Would have needed to advance the football up into Princeton territory to the 46, but now they will have to punt. And again, this Princeton line's been showing a lot of pressure.
Be careful about a block here. A lot of pressure.
Yep. Decent enough kick. Be fielded at, nope, not fielded at the 25. Uh-oh. Oh, nearly muffed. Deep man falls on it down there. So one of those Peter balls. You got to get out of the way of that, right? Scarborough, I believe, was the deep man for the Vikings. So 104 for Princeton. Relatively deep in their own territory. Well, ball's going to be spotted at their 20, so deep enough. 80 yards to go and 64 seconds to do it.
See what they can do. They'll need a big play here, definitely. And the ground game, from what we've seen lately, hasn't been really good enough to maybe make that big play, but you never know.
Well, what you got to watch out for is that penalty bug that's been biting the Vikings. Deeper than you want to be at this point.
Yep.
Hairston drops back. He's going to roll over to his left. He's going to tuck it and run. Gets through a pair of defenders. All kinds of room out in front of him. Can he beat the defenders? Tiptoes the sideline. No whistle. He's going to stay in bounds before. Nope. They're going to rule him out at the 39-yard line.
Yeah, that's where his foot came out of bounds. But there's your big play, Glenn, and that's exactly what you need on the ground. And no better guy to go to than Jose Hairston. And that's going to put them in a very good spot here with 49 seconds left in this half. Still on the 39-yard line, but that's a sensational play and some yardage they much needed.
Yep. And they got the benefit of the chains being a little slow to set there. Coach Daniels wanting to run tempo. Game clock still not starting. Play clock's running. I guess because he went out of bounds, right?
Yep.
Forgot about that. Hairston, no pressure. Now the pressure is going to get through the line. He's going to roll out to his right. Desperation heave over to the right side. A valiant effort just inside the 25, but it will fall incomplete and stop the clock 39 seconds.
Yeah, that looked like an option play there, and Hairston had a little bit too much pressure from the Milford defensive line to keep that ball and run it, so it throw there, and that's probably not a play you're going to want here too many more times in this half, but I guess they'll take it here with 39 left.
Burkhalter, the intended receiver. The clock stops on the incompletion, but the play clock continues to roll toward 15 seconds. 3 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom. Man in the backfield with Hairston. Low snap, quick pass. Complete. Trey Key sprinting down the sideline, gets away from a tackle and into the end zone. 39-yard catch and run for the Princeton Vikings with 30 seconds left.
Well, 2 big plays in this drive gets them the points, and I don't know, this ball may have deflected, and then Key may have caught it on a run. This took a really weird bounce, a bad snap. Hairston picks it up.
Yeah.
And that
deflected off one receiver, and Key was right there to pick it up and streak down the sideline, right?
Right place, right time. That is luck. A huge break for Princeton.
Well, some more crazy antics. I think it bounced off the intended receiver and then went into Key's hands. This is what happened. It looked like he pitched it. We're going to get a look at the replay after the point after try here. The kick is no good. Plenty of height, but wide to the right. But, yeah, we're going to take a look at this replay here. So it was a pitch.
Wow. That's an unbelievable play.
Can we go back in the truck and try to isolate who the guy was that caught the ball by chance? I think it might be hard to see with the Milford defender draped on him, but a heads-up play nonetheless. I don't know what's crazier, the interception and safety or that.
I've seen a lot of interesting things here. It's only week 1, Glenn.
I know, right? 10 more weeks of this, plus the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, we've said it before, momentum just squarely on the side of the Princeton Vikings. Milford got the 2 points on the quirky play down there, but really it's been all Princeton. I don't think you can dispute that at this point.
Especially with all these penalties Princeton has had too. Pretty impressive. They're able to put up this many points on Milford. Like we talked about, they need a big play, and they ended up getting 2 huge plays on that last drive.
Okay, so we will kick it off.
It's 13 to make the pitch.
So the pass was initially caught by number 13, Caleb Crawford, who then made the pitch to Key. 13-15. Some hard hitting away from the ball up by the 45-yard line, but the ball is going to be downed around the 30. Milford will have 25 seconds to try to put something together here. After the offense being pretty much stuck in the mud for the duration of the second quarter. Great crowd on hand here for the home team. First chance to get a look at the new bleachers that were installed in the offseason.
This facility is absolutely beautiful.
It is. Good tailgating environment across the lot in front of the high school for the game, even when I got here about 5 o'clock. But yeah, great facilities here, and just the site of some epic battles.
On Princeton, that's their first.
Wow.
Sideline warning on the Vikings. Honestly surprised it's taken this long. They've been towing that line, so to speak, for a lot of the second half with some of the zaniness that we've seen. Milford backs way up on their side. Pass, so wide open receiver just out in front of him, falls incomplete, trying to get it to Kells. And just a couple yards out in front of him. So the clock will stop is the good news with 20 seconds. Bad news is it's 2nd and 10. Well, we got some highlights for you, that's for sure.
Definitely.
A couple big scoring plays, and a couple crazy scoring plays.
And that pitch, you might want to submit for top 10.
Oh, blown up hard in the backfield with a high-low at the 25-yard line. Oof.
Well, this Milford offensive line we've noticed has been what you called leaky a little bit, and Princeton able to pounce on it there. With these big guys, they're able to make contact pretty easily as we end the first half.
So that will do it. At the end of one, it's the Princeton Vikings 20. Milford Eagles 9. So we will take a break here during halftime and be back with the second half of action in just a few moments.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Mírate. Eres la mejor. Eres imparable. Nada puede desviar tu rumbo. Espera, se parece a tu auto. Oh, no. Esto lastimará tu cuenta bancaria. Ahora estás viendo torno a $10,000 en multas, honorarios de abogados y el aumento de las tasas de seguros. Vamos a tratar de nuevo. Buena idea. Porque manejar entonado es manejar borracho.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. Yeah. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Welcome back to the second half of Friday Night Football on ICRC-TV Sports. Glenn Olson, Patrick Geshen, emanating from Pat Mancuso Field at Viking Stadium on the campus of Princeton High School. Very interesting first half your score. Princeton 20, Milford 9. Patrick, going through the stat sheet, just some things that really jump out at me. The rushing yards, Milford with just 30, Princeton 220.
That's a lot of rushing yards for one half of football, and we talked about Princeton's big plays on the ground, especially late there in that first half. And this is a team that likes to live on the ground. We knew that coming into this game. And they've got a lot of great rushers too. Jose Hairston has been great. He's got 139 rush yards tonight, and Thomas Boyd has 45 for them. And Thomas Boyd maybe not going to play as much in this game as maybe later in the season because it's his first varsity game, but Jose Hairston has been great for Princeton on the ground tonight.
Trey Key not far behind with 38 yards on 6 carries. Total offense, again, not a big surprise if you've been paying attention to this game. Milford with just 31 offensive plays, 174 yards. Princeton 36 plays, 335 yards. So essentially double. They've doubled up what Milford has done. Another eye-popping stat for me, Patrick. 2 penalties for 10 yards for the Eagles, but 9 for 91 for the Vikings. We commented a lot on that penalty bug, biting them, and there's proof in the pudding right there on the stat sheet.
And it was a big problem early on. You just think what maybe the score might be if they don't give up those penalties in yards. So that's something they've definitely got to adjust here for this half. Milford, though, they're staying disciplined. It's just you got to find a way offensively to move the football. It's not working in the air. It's not working on the ground. They got to figure something out here in this second half.
Yeah, Cameron Kells just 25 rushing yards for the Eagles. Hunter Johnson making his varsity debut, 144 yards, a touchdown, long of 51, but just 7 completions. So when he's hitting them big. Yep. We saw him go across the middle with some turnovers, 2 interceptions to his credit, unfortunately, for Eagles fans. Dylan Hughes, though, having a great game, 4 catches, 119 yards, 1 touchdown, the 51-yarder we saw in the first quarter, but then that key turnover when he turned a nice cutback all the way, into a nice scamper down to the end zone and coughed it up inside the 10. Punting yards, Milford with an edge there. They punted 4 times, Milford 3. It's 40.5 average for Brian Stevens from Milford. Bryce Burton averaging 34. Tackles, we haven't said his name a lot because, again, it's hard to make out these jerseys sometimes, but Hayden Johnson from Milford has 5 unassisted and 4 assists, total of 9. And one of those assists was a tackles for loss along with Dustin Loudermilk, 3 unassisted, 2 assists, and again a half of a tackle for loss. So over on the Princeton side, Scarborough 3 unassisted, 1 assisted, and Elijah Everhart 3 unassisted with Jermaine Wempai, who we expected to make an impact at wide receiver, having an impact on the defensive side of the ball as well. So thanks again to our Milford stat crew, especially Sean Sell, for providing us with statistics. Princeton has 2. They're just about even. So thank you to both teams for providing us with statistics here. To recap the first half, we're just about to get set and get underway on the second half of action here. Princeton will be kicking it away to Milford. Milford, as you recall, did win the toss and elect to defer until the second half. The wind has calmed somewhat. The American flag over in the west end zone is basically flat against the pole. The wind up against the goalposts are hardly moving. There is a warm front moving in from the south tonight that we thought might have an impact, but the weather is calmed for the interim period. May affect some of the Saturday games tomorrow in the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. We covered stats, covered weather, and here we go. Second half of action. Deep kick. It's going to be fielded inside the 10-yard line. Cut back over to the middle of the field. A nice hole opens up. tries to turn the corner, but it's going to be brought down at the 35-yard line. There's still a scrum, and the Pack's going to move forward to the 40-yard line. So even though Milford is behind on the scoreboard by 11 points, they come out with showing some nice heart to get things going here in the second half.
The momentum has been in Princeton's direction in favor for most of the first half there, so Milford obviously wants to turn that into their direction, and no better way to get it started than a pretty good return there on special teams.
20-9 in favor of the Vikings. Here you're going to see the very nice kick return by Milford. Watch this pile move forward another 5 yards after the initial contact. Yeah, good start. One receiver to the top, two to the bottom. Big Connor Foster in at tight end on the right side of that line. He'll now step off. Maybe some confusion. Uh-oh, bad snap there for Milford. So you get things going well very nicely with the kickoff return, and then a poor exchange from the center.
Yeah, that's not the play you want to have if you're Milford. You got to keep those mistakes intact here, and they gave up a lot of chances for turnovers in the air. You don't want to start doing that here on snaps, especially with the way the defensive line for Princeton was at the end of that first half.
Okay, play clock now under, well, it's frozen at 11 seconds while the referee sets the ball. Now they're going to reset it. Boy, that was a mess. That's a free play with confusion all over the place. The play clock was a mess. We thought we heard a whistle, and there was some hesitation by both teams. So that was just a mess. I'll leave it at that. Johnson's back pleading with the official, Mr. Baumgartner, saying, hey, heard a whistle, nobody's moving. I mean, that should be a dead play, right? We're going to replay that down. He's saying it should be second and 12, not third and 12.
Looks like we're playing on.
Yeah, and again, the play clock under 10 seconds now. Some confusion. Princeton showing blitz. Johnson lets it fly, very nearly intercepted. Again, he's having to get rid of the ball early because of the pressure coming at him. He's trying to target Dylan Hughes, and very nearly an early turnover for the Eagles. They're going to turn over via punt regardless.
And that just adds to the piece that we were talking about there in the first half about just the throws they're making and the chances for turnovers. And Elijah Eberhard almost gets his hands on that football for the Princeton Vikings. So that's just another drive where Milford nearly turns the football over twice, and they still can't get out of their own end of the field.
Well, I tell you, this Princeton defensive line is really getting the best of the Milford offensive line so far tonight. Milford's going to go max protect here. Princeton looking to bring pressure. Boy, they very nearly got in there. Punt's going to be fielded inside the 30-yard line, fielded cleanly and set up for a return, advanced out to the 39.
That's going to be a good field position for Princeton to start on here, and we'll see how the run game starts in the second half. At a very explosive end first half.
Here's number 6, Jaden Scarborough, who returned the Eagles punt. A very good field position for the Vikings. First and 10 from their own 40-yard line. 10:56 remaining in the third quarter. The momentum still squarely with the Vikings. Thought the Eagles might take it away after the nice kick return, but couldn't seem to get out of their own way on offense there. Here we go, the Vikings' first possession of the second half. Quick handoff up the middle. Not a whole lot of room there. It'll be no gain. Second and 10 for Princeton. Milford was ready for that one. Let's see what happens if Princeton decides to test the edges, right?
Yep.
Good shot of Trey Key, number 15. You just had on your screen.
He's had a big impact tonight for Princeton.
I'm sure he has. That pitch and catch. Still
unbelievable.
Talking about that with our radio colleagues at halftime. Skinner. Hairston, quick pass. Out into the flat, is complete. Receiver picks up about 3 yards before finally being drugged down by an Eagle defender. Pass is complete to number 13. Caleb Crawford. The stop was over Martin for the Eagles.
And that's going to be a good pass play for Princeton. They can't really rely on the pass game there, but if they can string together a few of those where they can pick up some yardage to make third downs and maybe even some fourth downs a little bit more manageable, that's going to really help them here in this half.
Absolutely right, Patrick. Hairston, quick handoff. Nice cut back in a hurdle to Key up the middle. He's going to advance the football out past the 36-yard line. So first down and more. Great run by Trey Key. First set of downs for the Vikings. Clock stops at 1:33 while the chains reset.
Key rushed for 38 yards in that first half, and he had 107 receiving yards.
Ball advanced to the 43-yard line, like I said, 1st and 10. Play clock running down, 5. They forget to reset it.
I think it never got reset.
Yeah. They're going to reset it for now, but there was an equipment issues why the referees blew the whistle. I don't know that they were paying much attention to the play clock. Man in motion for the Vikings. Hairston's going to keep it himself. Flag comes in from deep in the defensive secondary.
There's a flag on the play.
Holding on Princeton.
Princeton has these cones down in front of their sideline. So they might have their personnel. I think it's a penalty flag every time I look down. Well, kind of lost that in translation.
The initial call was a holding on Princeton. It makes sense going back 10 yards.
Going back 10 yards.
First down, the Vikings.
Yeah.
And in motion across the formation again. Hairston draw up the middle. It's going to be drugged down back. Boy, he picked up. He was originally stopped at the line of scrimmage. The original, what would have been the original line of scrimmage, and he picked up 4 more yards out of it, maybe 5. So nice second effort by Hairston. Just sheer strength and determination to pick up those extra yards.
We've seen that all night long, and not just second effort, but third effort, fourth effort, just trying to get past that defense. It takes a lot to take him down.
Playmaker Coach Daniels wants back there running this offense. Missed him last year due to injuries. We talked about it in the first half on a few occasions. Handoff up the middle. Boy, Milford defenders are there, but just getting drugged with him an extra 3 or 4 yards. That's Boyd, number 17. We talked about him. Expecting to have an impact in this game. He has 27. Love that first down call by TA. That gets a crowd into it.
It really does.
On the 31-yard line. Vikings driving. Milford looking a little winded on defense. Hands on the hips here in the early moments of the halfway through the third quarter. It's the early moments. Handoff. Boyd just dragging defenders with him. There's 3 Milford tacklers trying to bring Boyd down. This guy's just a sophomore. We've said that 5 times. I apologize. He is running like a well-seasoned player.
Well, it's a big part of his story that he is a sophomore and he is already performing at this level, and you got to think he's only going to get better and bigger and stronger. And that's going to be a guy that's going to be a real standout player. We'll probably see him at a lot of all-star games and other sort of events because he can make an impact.
Princeton elects to burn a timeout here about halfway through the first quarter, or excuse me, third quarter. Been here forever. Very animated Coach Daniels, as you see on your screen. Trying to get his charges on the same page offensively here and try to take advantage of this opportunity they've been given. They've moved the football very well, running the ball extremely well in this possession, and have the Milford defense back on their heels. Clock approaching the 7-minute mark, 20-9. Princeton comfortably in control at the moment. Come Grippa's Eagles looking for answers. Not finding many at the moment.
Handoff. Boyd again. That's football up to the 21-yard line, maybe the 22. Third and short. 3rd and 1 officially. Maybe a long one if there is such a thing. Going to be Brandon Lanier from Mount Healthy last night. They got something going with Boyd, just like the Owls found something with Lanier in the first half. Going to go back to him, bullies his way up the middle. 1st down and more. He'll be brought down at the 13-yard line, let's call it. So just a nice run. He needed one and got way more than that.
Well, Glenn, we talked in the open and used the expression the Milford defense bent a lot last year, but they didn't break. I'd say right now they're starting to break down a little bit. They certainly are bending themselves a lot.
I think it's fair to say that Milford is not winning the battle of the trenches at this point on either side of the ball. Offensive line, we talked about their problems, and now defensively, Princeton just moving the ball at will on the ground here in the 3rd quarter. Trey Key has a hole up the middle, dances his way into the end zone, touchdown. So you give Boyd a spell and bring in Trey Key, and he runs all over.
And we got a penalty here going Princeton, I believe.
Back.
Yep. Looks like it was right around the 10-yard line, and let's get our call here.
Holding! Offense, number 77. 10 yards from the spot of foul. Still 1.
Love it. Old school football. Blow up the audio levels, but I wish I could impersonate that.
Well, there's
That's
another
awesome.
penalty, Glenn, and we've got to hear the referee a lot tonight from these penalties. You get another look here at this holding call. It's a good play by Trey Key to get through there, and Milford though catches a break, and we'll see if they can hold out here.
It's Trey Key in the backfield though, still no Boyd. They're going to take another crack at it for a 10-yard penalty. 1st and 20. You need to get the ball down to the 4-yard line for a fresh set of downs. You're getting that close, might as well go in the end zone. Key is wrapped up in the backfield. That's a big-time football play. Number 52, Brian Stevens of the Eagles. So after a very promising start, Vikings retreating a little bit. Ball now spotted at the 25-yard line. As I said, they need to get up to the 4. 2nd and 21. Hairston's going to pass. It's one-on-one coverage down to the bottom, but overshoots his intended receiver.
Trying to pass play there, looking to gamble on a 2nd down play, and good execution there, just can't make it happen. So they probably will return to the ground here on 3rd down.
I don't know. I hear you. We've had success on the ground, but it's 3rd and a bunch here.
You're right.
I'm not exactly seeing any kicking that's inspiring us to, give us confidence that field goals can be converted tonight. Burton's got a good leg, but I think these teams are going to like to go for the end zone. Let's see what we're going to dial up here, though. 3rd and long. 2 receivers to the top, 2 to the bottom. Looks like a run play from here. We will see. Nope. Hairston drops back. Quick pass. Steps up away from the pressure, and he's brought down immediately at the 23-yard line. So great job by the Milford Eagles that time of containing Hairston. Found a hole up the middle, but that hole closed quickly.
And they take advantage of the good break there that they got from the penalty. So now Princeton.
Big Mouth said he weren't going to try a field goal, and I think I see Burton out there.
Let's see what happens.
Took a field goal try to me again.
Could be about 40-yarder or so.
Yeah, it's all said and done. The ball's spotted just inside the 24, maybe. That'd be 34 yards, right, to the back of the end zone, and tack on another 7. 41 from where it's kicked. Good snap. Good kick, but I think he hooked it to the left.
Yep.
Had the distance, had the height, but hooked it to the left just a little bit. So Milford bends but doesn't break. Right?
Just barely.
Just barely.
Just barely. But we're still here in this third quarter, and anything can happen, obviously. And it seems, Glenn, that they're kind of tired right now, and they need some rest. This offensive possession can't quite work out for Milford. And that thing didn't miss by much.
No,
40 yards.
Good work by our guys in the truck. Dean, Lowry, et al. A fantastic crew here on hand at Crusoe Field at Viking Stadium for Friday Night Football on ICRC-TV. Competition with you. Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. Chili didn't make its way up here to the press box, though.
Fortunately.
Won't mention the brand of pizza that did. It's another one. Nope. Gain of 2 for Milford. 3:30 remaining. Plenty of football to be played, but definitely a 2-possession game for Milford as they trail by 11. 3 receivers to the bottom, 1 to the top. Johnson rolls, quick pass, complete, and the football comes loose. Just like that, the Vikings are back in business.
There's the momentum they needed. And that's going to really turn the tides here, Glenn, because Milford defense is going to have to go right back out there on very little rest.
That was nothing but a solid defensive hit right there. You're going to see it when they get the replay queued up, and here it comes. Design rollout by Johnson, a quick pass. Hughes, and look at that. Just a face mask right on the helmet, and the ball squirts out.
Very good throw.
Yep, textbook. Well,
the Princeton defense has really shown up tonight, especially here the second half, and that's where it's been for them the past few years, and they've got a lot of talent on the D end, and it's shown up.
I knew this was going to be a tough game for Milford, but needless to say, they are struggling to execute. The turnovers continue to haunt. Great field position for the Vikings, essentially where they gave up the ball in the field goal try, right? Kicked it from the 30.
Oh.
Is it complete? Nope, incomplete. Nice pass play down to the left side of the formation. Would have been caught around the 15-yard line.
It's a pretty creative call there by Princeton, and kind of a gamble as you watch the handoff, and then the...
Yeah, that's a pretty key pass.
Yep, pass to Hairston. Maybe thinking that he could make a catch and get a few yards out of that with his legs, but creative play for first down. Now it's second down and 10.
Gives the GMC coaches something to think about this year, huh? A little trickeration like that. Hairston out, let him use his abilities at the wide receiver position. 3 minutes on the button. Second and 10 for Princeton. Big run up the middle. Going to be a gain of about 8 yards. Probably 7 officially, but a long 7. We have an injured Eagle down on the field, face down into the turf. Not moving. Don't think anything's wrong, he's just hurt. 21 for Milford is the injured player. That's Clay Irwine. Easy to say.
Also, the Vikings would like to thank Capital Kowalski for their
training staff,
of Princeton Athletics.
Assisted by some of the Princeton trainers as well.
22 in white. Must have caught that hit there from Thomas Boyd. So he's charging through.
Oh, good. We just had the wind knocked out of him. Walking off under his own power, no noticeable limp. I'm sure we'll see him back out there in a couple plays after he gets his wind back. That's a little bit of wind from the coaching staff. Eagles searching for answers. Imagine if Princeton hadn't racked up over 100 yards in penalties in this game, what this might look like at this point. Handoff up the middle. Breaking free into the end zone. Touchdown, Princeton Vikings. Boy, you don't get much bigger of a wide open hole up the middle than that.
I'd say that's a break. Easy run play here.
Look at that. No white jersey.
Absolutely no resistance at all. And doesn't get much easier than that.
I'll talk over you there. But Thomas Boyd again. 100th time we said tonight. Just a sophomore. Playing like a wily old veteran.
First varsity game, too. No varsity experience coming into it this evening.
Great job by that Princeton offensive line opening up that hole. And by the time the white jerseys got into the shot, it was too late. Boyd was trucking to the end zone. 26-9, point after try on the way. Good snap. Kick is up and good. 27-9. Milford continues to be victimized by their own mistakes, I think it's fair to say, Patrick.
Yep. And it's just kind of been that momentum, the lopsided turn. We thought early on in this game Milford was the stronger team that came out and showed some greater play offensively and defensively, but it's been kind of a Princeton game and kind of grinded Milford out just slowly and slowly, and now they've really shown that they're the better team so far. Unless something changes here, I'd say Princeton has a pretty good team so far this year, and you got to like what you see from them. On the ground defensively, they haven't broken down yet. They've got some great plays when they need them, and some big plays offensively when they need them too. So this is pretty promising first few minutes of the season we've seen from Princeton so far.
Well, the good news for Milford is it's week one.
Yep.
Bad news is it's week one. Got a month to get ready, right?
Yep.
Practice started July 31st, so just granted you get some new players, especially quarterback, which is the key to the whole operation. But offensive line is not produced well. Conversely, the Princeton defensive line has dominated the Milford offensive line. The Princeton offensive line doing a bang-up job as well on those running plays for Hairston, Boyd, and Key. So I said it a few minutes ago, the battle of the trenches definitely in favor of the team in red and gray tonight. There's a good return with lots of momentum and tripping out to the 44-yard line. Set up good field position for the Milford Eagles. Number 2, Dylan Hughes, has had his share of big plays tonight, but a couple turnovers as well is going to overshadow some of the good things he's accomplished.
Let's see what they could do though with this good return. Last kickoff, he had a pretty good return as well, get out to the 40, and that's when their turnovers kind of came back again.
2:35 to go in the third quarter. Princeton searching for, Milford searching for answers on offense. Bit of a lackadaisical snap there. Quick handoff to Kells, who's going to advance the ball out to the 48-yard line. Just kind of a weird looking snap when it came out there. Pay attention to that. Oh, here's the ball. Nonchalantly grabbed it, handed it off. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6. We're going to call it 3. Looks like 4. There's a little bit of confusion offensively. Who's supposed to be doing lockdown there? Foster's been calling out some plays. We're going to hand off to Kells. He's going to try the left side. And there's a defender waiting for him right across midfield. Good 3 yards shy of the first down marker.
See what they do here on third down. What part of their game they trust the most. And you get a look there at the big prospect for Milford, big number 85, Connor Foster, who we haven't really called a whole lot tonight. And what do they do here on third down?
Well, there's a pass complete to Dylan Hughes. First down and more. Be gang tackled inside the 40-yard line. So a nice third down conversion there. I was trying to find my stat sheet. Sorry for the lull in the action there, but Milford was not great on third downs. Neither team was great on third downs in the first half. So opportunity to improve on that there with that third down play.
a good catch by Hughes. That's a much-needed play for Milford to keep this alive.
Indeed.
They're still within striking distance.
Milford showing blitz. Johnson across the middle. Connor Foster complete inside the 20-yard line. Living dangerously.
Second time they've gone to him tonight, and the first time he made the catch and almost fumbled the football. This time a clean catch there by Foster. They go to him again for the pass, and he picks up another first down and chains.
Jermaine Wimpy with the stop.
And they might be going to Foster a little bit more here in this half. We'll see what they do.
I'm not convinced they learned their lesson going across the middle there, but Foster definitely a better sized target. Johnson with all kinds of time. He's going to try the left side there. Pass will be complete. Milford starting to get some mojo here in the passing game.
Tackle made by number 12,
He's complete. Jake Gaylor said his name a lot since the early part of this game, back in the first half. Milford definitely needs him to get back in on some of the action here if they're going to try to climb back into this football game. Down by 18.
That run was by number 28.
Yard shy, maybe a yard and a half of the first down. Run to Kells.
Made by number 19, Darion Henry, number 44. On Jarrett.
Timeout taken on the field.
And that's the end of the third quarter.
Oh, excuse me, it's the end of the third quarter. Snuck up on me there. So at the end of 3, Princeton 27, Milford 9. I think it's fair to say, Patrick, the third quarter pretty much belonged to the Vikings.
Well, we saw all aspects of their game that were important, and that they were very, very strong offensively, defensively, and special teams. And a lot of good things we see there from Princeton in that quarter. Plenty of big plays, plenty of touchdowns. They're creating turnovers, and most importantly, just kind of grinding out the Milford team as we take a look at our TV replay schedule. This game on Friday night, August 24th at 11:30. Saturday and Sunday at 2 o'clock and 8 o'clock on Spectrum Channel 15. If you want to get up early Tuesday morning and relive the action, it's on Spectrum Channel 17 at 3:30. And also on Cincy Bellfy Optics, 8:47.
Of course, you can always find this game and all of our other archived content on our website, ICRC-TV.com, ICRC-TV.com. 12 minutes to decide it here from Viking Stadium. Princeton with a commanding 27-9 lead. Not getting much better on the old stat sheet. 36 rushing yards for Milford, 298 for Princeton, 223 in total yards for the Eagles, 422 for the Vikings. Well, a lot of confusion there. Jerseys and bodies running everywhere.
Fourth down for the Eagles.
Well, you got a fourth down coming up, Glenn. Obviously you want to go for it here and see what you can't pick up here from Milford.
Still no wind advantage at this point when Milford elected which end zone to defend early in the game. They thought they might have the wind at their back here in the fourth quarter, but the wind has died down considerably since the start of the game. Kells goes in motion. Johnson calls for the football. He's going to roll out to his right. Intended dump off to Kells, who's wrapped up immediately, and he's a yard shy of the first down. Got to get to the stick. Got to get there, so good hold by the Princeton defense. Milford really needed to convert that, it goes without saying.
Yep. Just a little rollout play here, and Kells makes the reception, but right on them. And that's another good defensive play from Princeton, who has been very sound defensively tonight, like we said.
Got to get to that stick. He wonders if Kells or Johnson should have just tucked it and ran. Had that defender right on top of Kells. Easy to second guess from up here.
Definitely.
I don't have a 250-pound lineman coming at me. Well, the Vikings thwart the Milford threats and take over, leading 27-9, 11:48 to go, but deep in their own territory. The ball snapped from the 11-yard line. Now they make it to 12. So we snap from the 11, advanced up to the 12 on the 1-yard run. Milford needs to step up big here in a hurry if they want to get back in this game. 3-possession game. Need to try to get a turnover here and turn it into points quickly. Officials timeout on the field.
Want to make a Princeton substitution.
It's an equipment issue. They're going to make him come out, or maybe blood on the uniform or something. The official saw it and waved him out, and the clock resumes again. 2nd and 9. Hairston rolls out under pressure, lets it fly. Nobody out there for him, though. So desperation heave. Avoid the sack.
3rd down for the Vikings.
Coach Daniels coaching up one of his receivers there. Take advantage of the opportunity, the play coming over toward the Viking sideline. Look at this here. Nice job. Milford getting some pressure on Hairston there. Can't really say that a whole lot tonight. He's had a clean pocket a great majority of the time.
Big play though for Milford. If they can hold them to this end of the field, get some good field position here, and maybe get an explosive start to the next drive, they're right back in it.
Boyd up the middle, is off to the races. Ankle tackle fails. He cuts across 30, cuts back over 20, 10. Flag comes in on the near sideline. He's finally going to be forced out of bounds inside the 5. There's a flag thrown back at the 25-yard line, I believe. Well, now the official called a touchdown. Wow.
Got to see what the flag is.
Well, I think it was a flag, unless it was one of those yellow cones that got thrown up, but I thought I saw something get thrown down there right around the 30-yard line.
He was all over the field on that play, and Laudermilk almost getting the tackle. Get another look here. I mean, starts there on the far side, then moves it toward the right side of the field. Dodges the tackle there. Laudermilk, the only guy back. He kind of faked him out, and then took an interesting path to the end zone as Laudermilk got a good angle on him and almost shoved him out there, but looks like he caught the pylon. That's a very close play.
Did the ball break the plane?
I'm not sure. I think just his ankle kind of knocked it over as he was getting tackled down. So discussion here.
Yeah, so we get word from the truck on one of the other angles that the ball did indeed break the plane. So good call by the official if it stands.
Still discussing either the flag or even if the ball did cross the plane. Obviously they don't have the angles that we do.
Another lengthy discussion.
Here we go.
Nope. Just when you thought. Princeton's happy though. They're liking what they're hearing out of the officials' meeting, but still no official indication other than the touchdown that was ruled on the field.
We got illegal contact on the bench. Referee ran into a coach. We got another side warning on Princeton. That penalty's 5 yards. Milford is 15. We will administer both fouls.
Okay, so you heard it, a sideline warning on Princeton, which was their second. That's a 5-yard penalty. There was a 15-yard penalty on Milford, so they say they're going to administer both fouls.
So does the touchdown count?
3 falls in the forest. If nobody's there, does anybody hear it? Good question.
Look at the, keep an eye on the ball here. Is this, does he get the ball across? Looks like he reaches out there. Yeah, that, again, great replay work by our crew. Now the ball looks like it meets above the pylon there. His foot definitely crosses over, but looks like he's able to stretch that ball across. That's a great play by Thomas Boyd, the running back.
As you said, during the initial call, he was all over the field.
All over the field.
Started left, ended up right, spun back over left.
Kind of wrote a Z in his pattern as he made it to the end zone.
Well, scoreboard still shows 27-9.
The touchdown is good. The sideline warning was imposed against Princeton Vikings.
I don't think the referees quite know what to do. They're still meeting in the middle of the field. So Coach Tom Grippa over on the Milford sideline.
They're lined up for an extra point. At least that's what it appears to be at this point, but you never know.
Yeah, the points are on the board now. It's 33-9.
Both fouls will be administered on the kickoff.
All right. Both fouls are going to be administered. So Milford has 15 and Princeton has 5. So I guess that means that Princeton will move it up 10 yards to kick it, right?
That's what I'd assume.
Understand that right on the kickoff?
If you do the math. Still only week 1. We've seen just about anything you can see.
This has been as bizarre of a game as I can recall being a part of anytime recently. Seen some epic comebacks and some fantastic plays, but just in terms of weird occurrences, this one takes the cake so far. Good snap, kick has plenty of height, and it's good. So it is 34-9 in favor of the Princeton Vikings, 10:45 remaining. Milford Eagles struggling.
Well, you get a lot of expectations for this season after you make the playoffs for the first time since 1986 last year, and this team needed a good start again to get back to where they were. And obviously under the same head coach, Tom Grippa, yeah, you lose a lot of good players and you get a new quarterback in here, but it's just not been Milford Eagles' night, and they've struggled defensively, which is where most of the plays have been for them. Princeton, meanwhile, we mentioned they're up and coming. They're getting there. Mike Daniels has created a lot of interest in this team and this community, and I'd say tonight Princeton has a very impressive performance offensively on the ground, just a lot of rush yards, and then defensively they're able to hold Milford and make some big plays and get to the offensive line. So a lot of promising things from this Princeton team this year, who might be competitive in the GMC, but for Milford, it's some things they've really got to work on here if they want to get back to where they were last season.
Yeah, I think it starts at the offensive line, and I think it's going to start at the quarterback position. You know, there's going to be some growing pains with a quarterback getting his initial experience at the varsity level, but really just a lot of mistakes tonight in that battle of the trenches. I mentioned 2 or 3 times, just not going Milford's way at all tonight. Princeton dominating the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. And hats off to Mike Daniels. You know, 4-6 last year after the Vikings nearly made the playoffs the year before under Pat McLaughlin. And Coach Daniels has come in here and, you know, a little bit of adversity early on in the season last year. Lost his father-in-law and, you know, struggling to generate interest in the program, but a lot of depth on the sideline as we've talked about tonight, and a lot of weapons on both sides of the ball. Really, you know, good offensive weapons. The emergence of Boyd, the sophomore running back. Trey Keys had a great game. Harrison obviously doing masterful things at the quarterback position, and then again the work of the offensive and defensive line, and really the whole defense for that matter. And this is an offense that was flying pretty high at the end of the season last year. Held them to 7 points offensively, 2 coming on that bizarre safety. Boy, they got a heck of a kicker too. Sailed that one deep into the end zone. Burton for an automatic touchback. He's pumped. Let's go out and hit somebody on defense. Yeah, so good things to come. You know, obviously 18 straight titles. Cole Rain's the king of the GMC till somebody says otherwise. Not sure if Princeton's ready to compete at that level yet, but you know, Mason has lost a lot of seniors. Lakota West struggled last year and lost their coach in the offseason. Now they have an interim coach, and you know, just an opportunity. Sycamore, another one of our communities. Scott Datillo has a consistent program over there, returning a lot of weapons. So, you know, everyone's looking up at Cole Rain. And when we saw a halftime score, Cole Rain was well in front of LaSalle, and a lot of reports and speculation in the media. There was timeout on the field. speculation that this could be a special year for Coleraine with the talent that they have returning over there on Cheviot Road. So I guess saying all that, Princeton really has an opportunity to make a statement in the GMC this year.
Yeah, it's very safe to say they're on the uptrend, and you just got to like where they've come from. I mean, last year a 4-4 conference record, and that's not horrible, but you want to be on the winning side of that. And
some close games in their defense.
Yeah, definitely.
4-6 is 4-6. There's no asterisks or anything by it, but some of those contests were not total blowouts last year as well. And if I remember right, I think they had a run where they had like 3 or 4 straight games on the road to open the season before they even got to come home to play a game. So just just again, to your point, on the upswing here at Princeton. For sure. So Milford gets another crack on offense here. After the touchback, Johnson dumps it off to Kells, who has room over on the right side and gets upended, but manages to keep his balance and advance the ball out past the 30-yard line for a first down. So great athleticism shown by Kells there.
It's another good rush on a second effort. And I can't tell if he went down on this play. It looked like he got upended by something, then got up and continued to run.
Yeah, kept his balance, got that hand out front, what it looked like.
Good look.
Yeah, catch it here on replay. They're coming back to the line quickly. A little bit of problem with the replay in the truck. We'll come back to that in a minute. But yeah, it looked like he was able to get his hand down to stay upright. Johnson back to pass. Protection holds up. Lets a deep pass fly.
What a grab.
Well, trying to Jermaine Wimpy again. We thought he'd make noise at wide receiver, but he's been making it defensively tonight. So I think that was, they were trying to get Dylan Hughes down the sideline, and Wimpy just reached up and plucked the ball out of the air. So Tom Grippa tries to get a home run, and
that's a tremendous athletic play. And stepped in there just at the right time. Dylan Hughes, the intended target, and that's just another exclamation point here for Princeton.
Princeton, other than the penalties, has a lot of positives to take away from this football game tonight through the roughly 36-38 minutes that we've played so far.
Penalties are something you can work on too. That's an easy fix.
Yep. Well, there's a rush attempt. It's not going to go anywhere but a yard behind the line of scrimmage. So rare setback for the Vikings offense tonight. This is a great opportunity for us, though. Both of these teams are part of our ICRC community, both Milford and Princeton. So great opportunity for us to showcase two of our community teams here tonight at Friday Night Football on ICRC-TV Sports. Entering into some new territory this year on the schedule. We're going to cover a Loveland game. Sycamore Township, or Sims Township, residents. So check out some new stadiums this year.
Always a fun thing to do.
Yeah. You show up and ask you who you are. What are you here for? Sorry.
Yeah.
We usually get it. Haven't had to pay yet.
Not yet.
I think I have to pay tonight. I came with an empty wallet. Gain of 2.
A lot of people here, though, in this Skyline Crosstown Showdown. I'd say it's a pretty big success, big hit in this area.
Yeah, a new format this year. There's going to be a marquee game every week. So obviously, the schedule is front-loaded with a lot of games, but every Friday night is going to be a different Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown game for the 21st edition. So a nice innovation there by Tom Gamble and his staff. Boy, that's a fun play call. And that's a big gainer. Looked like Harrison was going to go to the right, and running back comes up and goes left. And 10, 20, 25-yard gain on that. Watch this.
Another good play. There, right? And that's Trey Key again. Offensive line has been his best friend tonight and takes advantage of it there, and it takes about 4 Eagles to get him down.
Yep. Ball spotted at the 44-yard line of the Eagles. Well, time to start speculating on who's going to be the Mercy Health MVP of this game the Vikings are able to hang on. I'm curious to see what the Showdown staff comes up with, but they have a tough decision between Hairston, Boyd, and Key tonight, I would imagine.
You got a lot of good contenders for Princeton. Trey Key running off the field. He's a senior at 5'6", 160. Not the biggest guy at all, but he makes a big impact.
Good luck bringing him down. No center of gravity. He's been able to carve through this Milford defense tonight pretty well. That's a nice play. It'll be a first down and more. In motion, takes the ball from the quarterback, scampers around the left side, slices through the Milford defense. Deeper into Eagle territory now. Ball's going to be spotted down at the 32-yard line of Milford. Well, if Princeton's able to tack on another score here, that's really going to turn some heads in the local football community. Expected a pretty close contest, and it's been all Princeton since the second quarter.
Expected this one to be a little bit closer.
Yeah, exactly right. Man, see, that's what's going to give some GMC coaches fits this year. There's so many weapons on the field for the Vikings. You know, not quite sure who's going to end up with the football. Hairston selling those play fakes and the read options well, and not quite sure who's going to end up with it, and they'll make you pay if you're indecisive or you blow your assignment.
Yep. And we've seen the Milford defense break down tonight a few times, and what Princeton's been able to do to take advantage of those opportunities. You definitely don't want to make mistakes against this team, but like you said, Glenn, very hard to predict what's going to happen next.
Flag on the field.
Flag on the play.
It's going to be a false start.
Full start on the Vikings.
That's the only thing slowing down the Vikings right now, the penalties.
Still second down.
Second and long now for Princeton. Clock churning towards 6 minutes.
Look here at the false start. Just
yeah, well, looks like one of the linemen lifted up, right? Looked like maybe the left guard lifted up. If that was it.
I think so.
Boyd. Pull out there.
Number 27, Thomas Boyd.
Picks up maybe a yard.
Made by number 45, Milford.
I'll tell you, I don't have a vote for the Mercy MVP, but if I did, I would probably give it to Boyd just on the results he's shown on the field and based on the fact that he's a sophomore. He would be my vote.
You wouldn't guess he's a sophomore, and that's his first game, that's for sure, if you didn't know anything coming in.
Agree with you 1,000%. And we got to like what you're seeing out of these Princeton Vikings. They're definitely catching Milford with some growing pains, but they're still executing and utilizing the wide variety of weapons they have at their disposal. Now 4th and long, Burton was going to come out. Coach Daniels shoes him back. Take a timeout here.
Clock's still running.
Yeah, clock's still running. Whistle's not blown.
10 seconds. Maybe it's a little delay game just for a punt.
Yeah,
some extra
maybe.
yardage.
Yep. Good call, Patrick. I think you're 100% right. 5 more yards. Try to get one of those pooch punts up, maybe. Try to pin the Eagles back deep in their own territory. Matters a whole lot at this point. That's the right thing to do from a coaching standpoint. Well, a great start to week 1 of our Friday night football on ICRC-TV sports season. Good game last night with Anderson and Mount Healthy, and another good game tonight. Mason and Springboro happening up the road from us. That one being live streamed.
That's a great matchup.
Yep. Always a good battle, Warren County. Boy, there's a low snap.
You forget about Springboro and just how good of a team they are. Of course, Mason and the GMC, and highlighted by that. But Springboro really flies under the radar when you think of good teams in this area.
Yeah, and usually that game between Mason and Springboro ends up having playoff implications for both of them at the end of the year.
And it happens this year in week 1, which really is something.
Yeah. Well, it's that 8-game GMC schedule rearing its head. And just getting words, it was a pretty quick game, unlike the one we're calling. Not that I mind, I love doing this, but not quite a 2-hour game up in Warren County tonight. And right now, we're at 2 hours 45 minutes and still have 4 minutes to go.
I was going to say our first half was almost as long as their entire game.
Yeah, it's kind of a good thing they didn't bring the skyline up here, because you can't really eat it when you're broadcasting.
No, you
calling
can't.
a game, so just be sitting back here smelling good and everything, and don't need you drooling on the headset or anything.
You're right about that, Glenn.
Now we have an equipment issue. Player scampers off the field. Coach Dana's pretty animated about something down there.
He's a very animated coach, and we've seen that tonight. But it's possible that's the animation that the Princeton team needs, is a better sense of urgency and more activity down there and more energy.
Dead ball, approach, defense, 5-yard penalty, still 1.
Oh, encroachment by the Viking defense gives Milford 5 yards.
You just think about, where this team's been the past few years, and maybe that's going to be the solution to becoming more competitive. Just carrying some more energy, enthusiasm in the game.
There's another encroachment.
Oh,
holy cow. I'm guessing we've got the second string in at this point.
Defense, 5-yard penalty, resolve the penalties, the first down.
Wowza. Yeah, all kinds of bodies coming in and out. But back to your point on Coach Daniels, it is extremely obvious. If you watch him coach, he's very passionate about what he does. Never been able to attend a practice. I'm assuming it's a very high-spirited, high-energy practice as well, and these players are responding to it. There's a nice run through a bunch of tackles. I believe it's Cameron Kells who's going to advance the football deep into Eagle territory. 35-yard line, yep.
If there's anybody that stood out for Milford, it might be him tonight. He's made a lot of good runs on the ground. He's been able to pick up some yardage when they need it, and another good run here. It's more of a passing team in Milford, like we've established tonight, but if they need a run, then they can rely on Kells to do a lot of things.
Again, we think we've got the backup defensive line in for Milford for Princeton, and Milford able to handle that so far. There's a completion out into the flat on the right side to Dylan Hughes. Not used to seeing those short completions to Hughes. Used to bigger plays out of him. Milford moving the ball against the second string. The Princeton faithful start to make their way out of the stands and back over to the tailgate lot to celebrate what certainly looks to be a victory. Season opening game for the Vikings. Fake to Kells, dump off to Foster, who's buckled at the knees immediately. Looks like a first down, though. Yep, there's the indication from the far referee on the sideline. He ran the clock where the James was set. He wants to get out of here, too. Those guys got plans after the game. They got to go grab dinner.
I think so. Pretty hungry at this point.
Careful, James are set. Start the clock. Johnson under a little bit of pressure, looking down into the corner of the end zone. Pretty pass, but out of bounds, and there's a late penalty flag comes in. That's going to get the Viking coaches going.
They'll give them the benefit of the doubt there, that's for sure.
Well, that's the Dylan Hughes play down the sideline into the end zone, right?
Yep.
But a very late flag. Not Ohio State against Miami late, but it was late.
Defensive pass interference. Number 1 on the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty.
It's Cameron
That's
Thomas.
Half the distance, sorry, half the distance. Half the distance to the goal.
Half the distance to the goal. Guilty parties Cameron Thomas, the defender, 5'11", 175-pound senior defensive back.
Needless to say, but I don't think that's a call if it's a closer game.
It's really catchable that ball was.
Yeah.
Kind of be my thought. Looked like he overshot him a little bit. Kells, there's a flag comes in from back in the secondary.
Run by number 28, but there is a flag on the play.
Referees are going to need to go to physical therapy over the flags they've thrown tonight. My
Surprised
goodness.
our referee tonight has not lost his voice yet for all this yelling.
Could need Mercy Health over there to get these officials' arms a workout on those elbows. That one's going to go against Milford, so.
Holding. Offense number 54. 10-yard penalty for the spot of the foul. Still one.
Referee giveth, referee taketh away. That's John Willen, number 54. Offensive lineman for the Eagles, 5'9", 240-pound senior. A little bit of holding action. First and 20 for the Eagles.
There's some movement.
I think they're just letting that
Yeah.
go at this point. Boy, there's a pass into traffic, but streaking in from the corner. Was that Hughes was coming in across the back end line? The ball wasn't thrown into traffic. That could have turned into a fantastic play, but Johnson just continues to throw that ball into traffic. Frustration over on the Milford coaching staff. Just continuing to search for something.
Yep.
Clock stopped at 2:51. Dump off to Kells. Has a hole up the middle. Nice little sidestep. Sidestep 3 defenders. Make his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Cameron Kells. Well, nice catch and run by Cameron Kells. Not to dampen the party. It's probably against the second string, but you know what? They count all the same.
Yep.
Yeah, just a dump off there.
Good little play and a nice run. And like I said, Kells has been the standout tonight. If you need to find one for Milford, and he's made some good plays and gets the student section on their feet here. A little something to cheer about late stages of the game.
Yep.
They've stayed, though, pretty well. That Milford section across the way has remained pretty full as the game has gone on, sticking with their team.
Well, I'm sure there's disappointment.
Extra point is good by number 17 early.
Well, yeah, and we talked about it earlier, Glenn, just the expectations for this team and how much they united the Milford community last year with their playoff appearance. First time in over 30 years, and expect them to beat a team like Princeton coming in, looking at the numbers from last season. But obviously things have changed, and you got Blake King gone, and that's going to make a big impact. So obviously,
pieces on defense. Bryce Dugan we talked about lost to graduation. He had 6 sacks last year. You know, the one thing I'll say is Milford lost 2 games last year. Ended up being a tri-champ in their league. So the ECC is wide open this year. So showed their schedule earlier at Dixie Heights next week, then up to Kettering, Fairmont. So they got an hour drive in either direction for the next 2 weeks. But you know, an opportunity to get things right in practice. And you know, Princeton, as we talked about, going to be heading into GMC play the week after next. So yeah, this, you know, some exciting things could really be in store for these 2 teams that are part of our ICRC community.
who we will see on our ICRC schedule a good amount this year.
Yep. There's the squibber, I guess, right?
Yep, guess so.
Kick was recovered by number
Might have been an onside attempt. You know?
Yeah. 20-yard onside attempt's not going to get it. Can't blame him for trying. So it's 34-16, 2:40 remaining in the game. It is now approaching the 2-hour and 54-minute mark. Assuming we started right on time at 7. Long game, a lot of penalties, a lot of pass plays, a lot of clock stoppages, a lot of referee conferences. That'll give them fits back at the mothership trying to fit this long game into a block, right? 2.5 hour block
Right
would give you a
about that.
3+ hour game.
Yeah.
That run was by number 32, James Price.
PG will figure it
Well, they don't include halftime in that either, so that'll work.
Tackle made by number 67, Macbeth. Second down for the Vikings.
And we were hoping to perhaps have an interview for you at halftime, but that didn't materialize, and it's probably a good thing in hindsight considering the length of this game. So. 3rd and long for the Vikings. Under 2 minutes to go now. Mercifully, no 2-minute warning in high school. Well, again, got some of the backups in play out on the field, and flag comes in, but
ball foul.
it's number 10, Dorian Durham.
Offense.
Going to play full start against the Vikings.
Still 2.
He's even laughing. That's number 10, Dorian Durham, in at quarterback. He's a junior, so getting him some valuable varsity reps and sparing Hairston the risk of injury in a game that is pretty much a foregone conclusion. Princeton's going to emerge victorious in at this point.
Say so.
I think it's a fair bet. Handoff up the middle. Into a lot of white traffic there in a scrum. Ball carrier is number 32 for the Vikings. That is James Price.
Rolling. Offense number 66. 10-yard penalty. Still 2. Still second down.
He's a junior, and I agree with the let the holding go at this point.
Yeah.
But these young reserves got to understand how the referees call a varsity game.
Yep.
We don't need to be here till 11 o'clock either. Second and a bunch. Looks like a big play ahead. Nice cutback, but unable to keep his balance. Nice run. And they got tripped up there.
It's a new player we haven't seen. James Price, number 32, junior running back, 5'6", 146.
Third down for the Vikings.
Don't want to risk injury to their other weapons on the ground, and that's a pretty good play there.
Get these back up some valuable playing time. 3rd and long. Approaching 30 seconds to play in the game, so at least this play, maybe one other, but gathering this one might be it. Well, got to have one more penalty. Runner cuts back over to the left side after trying to get through the gap on the right side between the guard and the tackle, but the clock will stop. 18 seconds due to the penalty, and that will go against Princeton.
Holding. 75 offense. That's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay. 3rd down.
Brandon Williams, the guilty party. The hold. What's the chances we have one more penalty in this game?
I would lay money down, Glenn.
Yeah.
We've had to have at least 6 in the past minute.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how many Princeton ends up with if they've gotten to 20. Man in motion across the formation. Ball's loose on the ground. It was fumbled by number 85, Ian Robinson. And with that, that is the end of the ball game. Your final: Princeton Vikings 34, Milford Eagles 16. Definitely not the start that Eagles fans wanted, but the Princeton fans have to be optimistic with what they saw on the football field tonight.
They have to be in all areas of the game. We're very strong, running on the ground, defensively on the defensive line. They got a lot of help from special teams. And for Milford, a lot of issues to be worked out here over the next few weeks or so. How are they going to move the ball offensively? What's going to be their attack strategy? And then defensively, how do you stay strong through a full football game? So great things for Princeton. A lot of things to work on if you're Milford, Glenn.
I'll post the final stat sheet on my Twitter account at Glenn Cincy Preps. Appreciate you tuning in. Patrick, it's been a lot of fun working with you. On behalf of Tim Newman, Jason Dudley, Dean Lowry, and our entire casting crew, thanks for tuning in to Friday Night Football on ICRC-TV Sports. So long, everyone.